Welcome, everybody, to this 4-hour event, REFRAME Virtual Showcase, January 9th and 10th, 2025. The agenda for today, we will talk about this webinar series. We will talk about how to get CPE. This one is a CPE event, different than the other events that we've done. This is a CPE event. Then we're going to talk about key learnings from just one quick key learning from our big event in Hollywood, Florida, REFRAME 2024. And at 12:10, we'll jump right in with Fishbowl. 12:30, we'll bring in Ramp. We'll do a quick recap. We'll take a 10-minute break at 1 p.m. Eastern. 1:10, we'll bring in Keeper, and 1:30, we'll bring in Anchor. I am going to launch a polling question just to make sure that my polling question, that the polling question works. So let's just check to see that the polling question works. So, yeah, give me 1 second. I don't think the polling question is working, right, Carlos? Do you see the polling question?
I do not see it.
You don't see it. Okay. I think I know what the problem is. I'm sorry, guys. This is really important because if I don't get this right, we can't get the CPEs going. So give me 1 second. I apologize. And Carlos can't edit them for me. So we're kind of doing both things at the same time here. Let me delete this and delete this. Okay. Save it. Let's see now. Polling question. All right. I got a polling question up. Let's see. Do you see a polling question? And just the first one, by the way, should be just the first one because I'm going to go ahead and fix it so the polling questions are staggered. Okay. So just answer.
Now it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Just answer the first polling question. I think I know what I messed up. I put them all in one group. So no, don't answer second and third one, please. Just the first one. People are so eager to answer stuff. So just the first one. It's just for me to test the polling question system. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it says the submit button is not working. So yeah. So I'll work on it kind of behind the scenes. Let me end the poll here. Okay. So that one doesn't count. That was just a test. All right. Let's get right to it. Agenda number 2 for day number 2 would be for tomorrow, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do Intuit Enterprise Suite. I'll be doing that demo myself. We'll do it going to TaxDome. Then we'll go into RightTool. Either myself or Mark will do that demo. Then we'll do a quick recap, 10-minute break. Then we'll have MakersHub, ADP, and Flash Report. So that's what the 2-day, day 1 and day 2 look like. I want to give a big thanks to all the experienced partners that came to REFRAME 2024, which consequently is the folks that are doing the tech showcase. So for some context, this is the follow-up to our REFRAME 2024 event we had in Miami, Florida, in Hollywood, Florida, and then we're doing the actual demo. So everyone that attended the live event and the folks that signed up for this virtual showcase through the invitations I sent to my distribution list, you could both get to enjoy as these demos. This webinar series really quick. So if you're watching this live via Zoom, you are registered for both things. You're registered for the 2-day event. That's January 9th and 10th, today and tomorrow. That's a 4-hour CPE. And you're automatically registered to 10 sessions, 10 monthly sessions that start January 24th, 2025 and end in October 24th, 2025. Is 10 sessions monthly, the 4th Friday of every month, titled Pricing with Confidence, same exact title as the big event. So this is going to be a lead up to the event in Miami, Florida in November 2nd to 4th with an optional day on 5th. There's no CPE for the consequent webinar series. So if for whatever reason you don't want to be part of the webinar series, just when you get that invite, you can unregister, but you're currently registered for both. If you're watching this live in Zoom, if you're watching it on YouTube, then you're not. How to get CPEs? You must be live in the Zoom webinar. We will give a 2-hour CPE if you attend the 2 hours for each day. You can get 4 in total. We're not going to do partial CPE. So if you're only here for an hour, which is administratively, it's just too much work. So you either get the 2 hours or for day 1 or 2 hours to day 2. You can split them. You don't have to be in both. But you will get a 2-hour CPE certificate. We're going to send a total of 8 polling questions and you must answer 6 out of the 8 through the 2-hour event each day in order to get those 2 hours. There's my email on the screen. If you don't get the certificates by January 20th, then just email me, and then we'll figure out exactly what went wrong. Okay, so that's in there. And then also in the live chat, these slides are available in the live chat. One thing I do want to add is there's going to be the main slides, the one that you're seeing on the screen, and there's going to be each individual slides that each of the vendors are going to have. We're going to combine those all into one big PDF and email it to you by Friday. Okay, so by Friday, we'll be emailing that. We will be emailing by Friday night. By tomorrow night, I'll be emailing the YouTube recording, which is going to be the 4-hour event, the slides, any additional resources or links. If there's any contacts from any of the vendors presenting, we will email that. So there'll be one email that you will get with all that information. That way you don't have to stress out about writing things down or not. You can, of course, but I'm saying, if you just by Friday, you're going to get all that information so you can enjoy and watch. So really quick, the ReFrame annual events, which is where ReFrame comes from. It's an event that we did in October 2023, themed Creative Business Models for Accountants, an event we did in 2024, just last year, called Influential Conversation for Accountants, and a third event that we're doing this year in 2025 in November, which is themed Pricing with Confidence, same exact name as the webinar series. So you're going to be learning a lot about this whole concept of pricing with confidence through the year. We have a couple of things happening. So we're going to have a virtual conference. So if you missed ReFrame 2024, Carlos and I are actually putting together the virtual version of that conference. We have all the recordings from all the speakers, and we're putting together what will be right after tax season in April, will be the virtual version of that conference. So we will have that announcement coming soon, all the instructions on how to do that. That will be a paid event. Carlos and I will monitor it live, and we're gonna basically anybody that's experiencing it live, live and via Zoom, will get a similar experience as the one that we did in person. Of course, it's not the same thing, but it's a similar experience. And then after that, we're going on tour. Carlos and I, mostly Carlos, I'll be in some of them. In May, we will be doing a 1-day mini event, which will be like a recap, a 1-day event of the 3-day event that we had at ReFrame 2024 in person with the same theme, influential conversations. And we're planning to go to NYC, Chicago, Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, or Houston. So there's 4 to 5 cities we're going to be hitting. Again, we're going to send an email to everyone on this distribution list as soon as we know exactly what those are. Now, we are planning to do a quick recap of key learnings from ReFrame 2024. We'll skip that because we don't want to take away any time from our vendor presentations. We're going to get started with Fishbowl. So we have either Kendrick or Casey from Fishbowl here. We're going to make you host, so you can share your screen. So it'll be you, Kendrick, or it'll be Casey.
Yep, I'll jump right in. Thank you, Hector. So excited to be here today. Let me go ahead and get my screen share going. Is that coming through all right?
It is.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'm excited for ReFrame 25, Hector, and excited to talk about Fishbowl as well. So real fast, want to jump in for those of you who may not be familiar with what Fishbowl is or does. We have been around since 2001. We're the #1 requested QuickBooks integration partner for inventory and manufacturing needs. And I want to put a little bit of context to that. So just imagine for a moment that you're headed out on an important trip. And as you go to board the plane, all of a sudden your cell phone battery dies. You realize that you spent too much time checking emails before the plane was ready to board. And just like that, your phone's out. And I bet if you're a bit like me, this causes immense panic and even some distress. And even though all the information you need is on your phone, you simply aren't able to access it. So that can be a kind of a trying thing. But just as you are in that position, someone notices, and before you even say anything, someone next to you hands you a power bank, and they willingly provide that. You're able to power up your phone, board the plane, make it to your destination, and everything's well, right? And that power bank is Fishbowl for product-based businesses. So many companies out there have the information they need to operate, but it's living in warehouses and on manufacturing floors, and there's no way to unlock it and provide visibility to everything that's happening within their business. They've got to walk down to the production floor to see what's actually going on, or they've got to go out and count the widgets on the shelf to know what they've got. And Fishbowl brings power and ability to help those product-based businesses be more successful and more able. A quick note on who Fishbowl is for. While we work across a variety of industries and verticals, there are certain areas where we do really well and tend to win for a variety of reasons. Anyone with compliance and traceability needs are great fits for Fishbowl. So food and beverage, if they've got products on the shelf, they need to know about CRF 21 Part 11 for the FDA. They need organic food board certification. They need to be able to do recall reporting, all those types of things. Fishbowl provides out of the box as capabilities that are there. The same would be true in other verticals like healthcare and pharma, and automotive, construction and trades, manufacturing, and a laundry list of other product-based businesses. So whether that's consumer goods or electronics, and we do a lot with both the warehouse and distribution side with manufacturers and a growing number of e-commerce companies as well. So anyone that you may be working with that are in those different areas, if they have stuff and a need to track it, then Fishbowl could be a great fit to consider for them and give them that power that they need to manage things well. From a product standpoint, we provide both on-prem and cloud-based offerings. So we traditionally have worked with QuickBooks for over 20 years with their enterprise product. Obviously, in the last number of years, QuickBooks Online has really taken flight, and so we have corresponding products that fit both cloud and on-prem. And we're focused always on the same types of things: inventory management, making sure the integrations and connectivity are there, making sure that manufacturing needs are met, and then the different industries that they work through, as we've already hit on, warehousing and everything that is needed for fulfillment, pick, pack, and ship, and right through the process. So quick overview on where Fishbowl fits, what it does, what it is. We're going to start with the purchasing management. So really, as you think through everything that's going on, Fishbowl handles all the material workflow related from order management, including e-commerce, warehouse fulfillment, shipping labels, full manufacturing workflows. If it's touching stuff, then Fishbowl would be the place that you do those things. So purchase order creation, the management of goods, knowing what to buy and when to buy it, receiving goods in, and then ancillary items as well. So it may be things like bill of materials or CAD creation. If they're doing engineering work and things of that nature, we have great connections and integrations in those places too, so that clients can use Fishbowl to manage everything that's happening with their materials. From a costing perspective, we're going to be tracking everything that's happening with manufacturing processes. That includes work in process and direct labor capture as part of the build process too, so that inventory numbers and asset valuations are reflected. And then a big part of this as well would be making sure that from a physical goods standpoint, we're managing everything that's happening within the warehouse. So shelves, aisles, rows, bins are all tracked within Fishbowl. The picking process to route folks through in the right way. And when I say route things through, we have great mobile apps that enable and empower end users to jump through all the orders that they may have and be directed on what to go and where to get it, voice prompts and picking and all sorts of things on that front. So some good things. This is by no means comprehensive, but a good overview of what Fishbowl is and does. Moving on, the next piece of this, and an important element that we need to consider is for all that Fishbowl's doing when it relates to inventory management and manufacturing and inventory control. At the end of the day, all of that needs to end up in QuickBooks. And so we have a fantastic integration, as I mentioned earlier, #1 requested integration with QuickBooks for a number of years running. And everything that's going on from the Fishbowl side is going to flow through and end up in QuickBooks. So there's no double entry. There's a great seamless integration that on an automated basis can send over the data. So from Fishbowl, we're going to have our customers and our sales orders coming through. That's going to result in new or updated customer records, invoices, credit memos, sales receipts, all the things that they may be doing on the Fishbowl side automatically transfer in. Same would be true with purchasing, purchase orders, and bills are moved over so that those bills can be paid. And an important designator here is that we're not taking over the accounts payable and accounts receivable. That's still going to be an accounting function and a QuickBooks-based task. We're just helping feed the data through so that that information is available. For those who do manufacture, all of the manufacturing tasks are going to flow through as well, and they're great capabilities to map detail at the appropriate level. So work in process items and finished goods can be held in different accounts. If you have different types of items, class tracking and everything else that's there on the Fishbowl side is going to send that over into QuickBooks. Last but not least, the inventory management side. So cycle accounting parts, scrapping goods when necessary, any inventory valuation changes are all going to result in the applicable inventory entries and journal entries that flow from what's happening in the warehouse floor over to QuickBooks so that in real time, everything's up to date. We know that it goes beyond just what QuickBooks does, though. A lot of companies have so many different tools that are out in their tech stack. Our friends over at Intuit shared the other day that the average number of integrations they see is 17 or greater for QBO specifically. And we understand that in order to be a fully compliant and capable inventory management system, we need to look at everything that's happening within the business, not just the inventory and the accounting. So Fishbowl has some great tools that can connect in to a variety of other places as well. Areas like shipping and EDI and compliance tools are just some of the examples where we have a truly holistic look at what Fishbowl's meant to do and what's happening within the business to ensure that data entry is automated and systems are really efficient to get information through. Following up on that efficiency, just one more call out to the mobile solutions piece. So a big part of what happens with inventory management includes the movement of goods in the warehouse in real time, being able to record for those things. So our mobile apps enable end users to quickly and easily complete tasks and functions as they need, and this brings both accuracy by recording the right information with barcodes and detail like that where possible, as well as efficiency. So as things get done, with the end of the year, we see a lot of folks that are cycle counting, and instead of having to go write that down on a piece of paper, bring it back, and something's inevitably changed, they've got to go back and do recounts. When our customers get to the end of a row or an aisle, everything can be entered in as they go. So at the end of that aisle, they're done with the task and everything is up to date in real time for those managing processes. And anything you'd think to do that involves inventory movement, whether that's cycle counting and picking or shipping, receiving goods, completing work orders, moving stock, are all available on the mobile devices as well.
Hey, Kendrick,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over the screen for a second just so I can run up the first polling question.
Okay,
So
perfect.
if you're here for CPE, just keep in mind that we need to have all the polling questions, or we need to have 6 out of the 8 polling questions answered. So we're gonna go ahead and run the first official polling question. So again, if you're here and you want to get your CPE certificates, if you don't want your CPE, you don't have to answer, but just answer the polling question. And then after the polling question is answered, we will give it back to Fishbowl so they can do the demo and finish up the presentation. So once again, first polling question is up. Make sure you answer that polling question. And we will have, Fishbowl will have another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll move over to ramp. So last warning to answer the first polling question. Again, you have to answer at least 6 out of the 8 polling questions that would be asked in this 2-hour, 100-minute CPE session. Okay, so it's been a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and close the polling question in 3, 2, one. Polling question has officially been closed. Thank you. And there, so if you have questions, please ask them via the chat. That way we can verbally ask the folks at Fishbowl. Some of the questions are being answered, being typed by Casey live while Kendrick does the questions. But if there's something that you want us to ask verbally, just put it in the chat and we'll answer it. Go ahead, Kendrick.
Perfect. Thank you, Hector. So I want to switch gears just a little bit from talking specifically about the product capabilities to how Fishbowl helps your client's success and our success as well, making sure that their needs are met as part of their onboard. We know that inventory manufacturing are complex topics, that there's a lot that goes into that. And so one of the first things that we do is ensure that every new client that comes in is paired with an implementation expert. So our experts guide through the implementation journey, ensuring minimal downtime, make sure that you're set up to succeed from the moment that your client goes live. And we pair these implementation experts with the types of companies that they're most familiar with. And so if you've got a client who's in food and beverage, as another example, we're going to work with someone who in-house part of our team is familiar with the FDA regulations and the things that they need to set up for track and trace and recall. In addition to that, we provide on-demand product training. So this isn't meant to be the way that things go, but a great supplemental tool. We have hundreds of videos that are role-based. So as you're working with your clients, the CEO or the owner of the company can have one track of information that the warehouse manager or production person or a picker would see the type of information that they need in these role-based training sessions so they can get up and running. In addition to that, implementation expert that they have with. There's also a dedicated account manager, and this individual is someone that they'll work with for their entirety of their Fishbowl journey. So that's their advocate and their point of contact, so that they always have a person that they can reach out to whenever there is a need to schedule training or expand for more users or whatever the process may be. And then last but not least, all of our support is based right here in the USA. And I always like to say that if you're interested in what makes Fishbowl different, just call our support line. And within a couple of minutes, you're going to be talking to the right person to answer the needs for you or your client. That's not always true with every system out there, but we know that when clients need help, it's vital that they get that in a timely manner. So we've put a lot of emphasis on ensuring that not only our product, but also our people are there to make sure that you and your clients have everything you need. Dedicated technical support, Hero Assist, phone, chat, and email to access to ensure a positive experience and make sure that everything's taken care of. So a little bit on that front from the Fishbowl side. Switching gears over to our commission program real quick. We've got a great partner referral program as well. So if you're interested in referring Fishbowl in, we've got a path to getting commissions out. And then even beyond this, if it's something that you're regularly seeing, there's a model for residual payments as well. This can also be passed along as a discount to your client if that's a more applicable way to go. And then a quick switch of gears once more. I'm going to jump in and
Kendrick, in order not to cut you short, we do have a couple of minutes left, and it might be easier for you to go over the overview while the product is up, so people can get a little bit of that in-product demo portion. So maybe show a little bit of the inventory management stuff inside the product. So when we switch to ramp, people don't lose the chance to at least see what the product looks like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll jump there now. That's a great call, Hector. So I'm switching gears to Fishbowl at this point. That should be coming up. You see that all right? All right, fantastic. So the Drive product, as we've already talked about a little bit, is inventory focused. So you're seeing now as an items list. If we look at an item in particular, all sorts of detail associated with that. So dimensions, sale items and substitute information. We're going to have vendor information that we can add in to track who the vendor is, the cost that we purchased by, the units that we're buying, lead time or minimum order quantities, anything that may be necessary to manage those vendor relations as part of that process as well. That leads into our inventory. So the items are everything that we may have, and the inventory are the things we actually have in stock. And as you can see with the items that are in stock, we're not just tracking what we have on hand, but also a variety of other numbers, allocated and committed stock for orders that are coming out, available inventory, incoming goods on purchase orders, and when and where they may be arriving. All the detail there from an inventory standpoint as far as warehousing. So this is a pretty simple setup with just a single location, but I could have unlimited numbers of locations and information that are out there. In addition to this information on the item, custom fields and custom tracking are also available. So I mentioned earlier, for those regulated industries, if I've got an item that needs traceability information, this tracking field is here. By default, we have lot, expiry, and serial numbers, but you can add as many in as you need. And then the process and flow is really straightforward. When new orders come in the door, whether that's adding them new manually, I can jump in here, select the customer that would be purchasing, add the item or items that I want to sell. I can see my inventory in real time, pricing information, etc. And then as it flows through, picking, packing, and shipping out the door. Now, I will note we have lots of integrations out to e-commerce platforms as well. So I may not be keying orders in here. It may be that the order came through Shopify. It automatically syncs. It shows up as an issued order in Fishbowl. And so the first interaction I actually have with it would be here in the picking stage, where I'd go and gather things up. This can be done either on a computer or on a mobile device. So I can go out and grab that, and then the final step would be our shipping. Once the order has been finished, I grab it from stock, I pick it out, and from this point, I can actually generate shipping labels directly through Fishbowl as well. So if I'm wanting to send it out on FedEx or UPS or Postal Service, I grab that, ship it out the door, and that's going to send an update over to QuickBooks. Purchasing would be the same type of flow, or an order would be created. Once the order is created, I'm going to receive. Receiving is a two-part process. I may have receipt of physical goods, and then there's also a reconciling process that I go through to ensure that the cost of the item is captured as it needs to be. So when I receive it in, I tell it the location that I'm going to. And then the reconcile step is where I'd add any additional expenses. So as an example, if shipping was not included and I needed to burden that in, I can land that cost through, work it through the entire process, and that the end result would be a bill that's posted over to QuickBooks. So I realize kind of a quick overview. Hopefully this gets you directional on what Fishbowl is and does. I want to be respectful of time. Hector, anything else you want me to hit on?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for going fast. And also some people are saying you're going fast, but and what can you do, right? I mean, you're trying to pack a lot of information in a short period of time. So we appreciate very much you trying to give us as much value as possible in a short period of time. Remember, everybody, this is going to be recorded. It's going to go on YouTube. You can slow it down. You can pause. There's a lot of stuff. And as an added comment here, I did a 1 hour and 20-minute deep dive demo with Kendrick in my YouTube channel. So if you want to go a little bit deeper, and then we actually have a conversation about multiple things. I asked him a lot of questions. This happened about a month ago. So it's there in YouTube now, and I will include that in the notes, in the email notes, if you want to go a little bit deeper. Can you go back, open your screen again, Kendrick? I always find reports to be like an area where people go, oh, okay, this is cool. So any interesting reports you want to show us on the inventory side? Yeah,
real quick, kind of two that step out as far as reporting goes. One would be the reports that are in Fishbowl, and the ability to come in and just make changes and information as you need. So if I want to create optional sets, if I want to filter or make changes there, something from either it's a barcodes or cycle count list or things like that, they're all fully customizable here as well. We have an additional reporting tool called Fishbowl AI Insights that couples with Fishbowl. It's a separate dashboard. I don't have that pulled up here, but can certainly get some more information out that allows for AI forecasting and a lot of other capabilities as far as dashboards and insights and information. A lot of these are going to be very directional and functional operational type reports, and then AI Insights adds the next level of detail as far as what may be needed to see the best ways to make decisions to operate the business. So, and like Hector said, we've got the hour and 20 overview, and we're always happy to provide a demo directly to you if you have a client in mind or some business processes that you want to work through and see how Fishbowl might be able to address those needs. Just give us a shout, and we can go through in much more detail and more time and less rush.
Instead of calling it rush, we're gonna call it brief. Okay.
Fair enough.
We'll
Words
reframe,
matter.
we'll reframe that into brief, right? We're trying to jam pack as much information as possible. So I'm gonna run the second polling question, everybody. Second polling question is up, and it just says if you're interested in learning more about Fishbowl, the partner program, a live demo, just have some questions. If you want us to give the email to Fishbowl to reach out to you directly, maybe do a demo with one of your clients, maybe answer some questions. Inventory is a really heavy topic. I mean, if any of you work with inventory, you know there's a lot of moving parts, literally and physically, with inventory and manufacturing and all that stuff. Question: do you guys have like a YouTube channel with like in depth on how everything works in Fishbowl that we can route to? Like, how do people learn from the technical side how to use Fishbowl?
Yeah, great question. So we have some content on YouTube. We also have on our website a documentation wiki, and then as I mentioned earlier, we've got several hundred videos on a tool called Brainstorm. That's that role-based learning, and everyone here is able to get access into that. Just let us know if you're interested, and we can get you set up with a login information to that Brainstorm video as well as our documentation. So we're happy to provide not only those resources, we have a partner portal as well with some great content and resource too, so we can get you signed up for that information. We use a tool called Partner Stack. I think Intuit uses the same, and we've got resources available not only for how does Fishbowl work, what does it do, but also sales information and content for your clients.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, guys. You can turn off your webcam. I think I'm gonna make Danny host, or is it Michael? Who do I make a host?
I'll host here.
Okay, perfect. So, hey, Michael, how are you?
Good to see you guys.
So we're making the transition over to Ramp. The folks over at Fishbowl can turn off their webcams, and we closed. Actually, can you close the polling question, Michael? Does it let you do it, or should I take over host? I'll take over host. I'll take over host and the poll, and then I'll give you the host. Perfect. Thank you. Let's go make host. And Kendra, Casey, there was 39 people that requested more direct information. So I'll send you their contact information for that. Casey, you can turn off your webcam. Ramp, go ahead and jump in.
Awesome. Team, good to see everyone. Hector, Carlos, thank you for hosting us again. Michael Rice from Ramp. I've got my teammate Danny Moeller here. Good to see everyone that we were able to, to connect in Hollywood in this past winter. We're going to take a quick spin through Ramp today. We want to keep it quick, punchy, go through a couple slides, and then we'll kind of do a little bit of a deeper dive into the demo. Danny will help with answering any questions, and I want to leave some time if Hector, do we ever have folks come off mute at the end of?
No.
Okay.
Because it's a webinar. There's 300 plus people.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful. Okay.
We'll get the questions via chat, and we'll verbally ask.
Perfect. Okay, great. Quick background on myself. Danny and I help manage the channel partnerships team at Ramp. In other words, we are between the two of us and a couple other teammates, we're focused on delivering Ramp to accounting firms, accounting practices. My background is in public accounting. I'm a CPA. I worked at Grant Thornton for several years in their audit practice in Chicago, moved over to banking with a large institutional bank that we would have all heard of. And I'll let Danny give a quick intro on himself before we dive in here.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for letting me crash the party. My name is Danny Moeller. I am a manager over here at Ramp. My background, not as cool as Michael's, but I've been in the fintech space working with accounting firms for the past 5 to 6 years now. Been really fun. Every firm's different. And so have really enjoyed the past 2 years here at Ramp and what we've been able to accomplish and seeing the value and time savings that that we're putting back into the firm's day to day and their clients as well. So I'll be managing the chat. And Michael, I'll throw it back to you for kicking things off here.
Awesome. Good deal. So sharing screens here, guys. I posted our contact information in the chat, but also you have it here in case you want to get in touch with us. I think Hector will be sending out slides after the call. So if anyone has,
I will be sending all the slides after the call. And also really quick, while you talk, I got a polling question up. So the third polling question is up. Again, we're managing CPEs, so we have to ask the polling questions.
good deal.
So yes, you can keep going with the presentation. Just everybody be aware that the slides will be sent to you tomorrow, Friday, with all those links and all the stuff. And I think Danny's also putting contact information in the live chat as well. But the polling question number 3 is up, and it'll be up for another 40 seconds. But go ahead, Michael.
Beautiful. Thank you. So yeah, continuing forward here, what is RAMP? RAMP is a finance automation tool. Our mantra is we want to save companies time and money. And there's a couple ways that we do that. There's a few core pillars that RAMP delivers. So there's our corporate card. It's a Visa branded card. There's incredible level of control, automation, insight that can happen on these cards, both virtual and physical. Think micro budgets. Think very intentional spend here. There's cash back. Next pillar is our expense management tool. So this is going to be a tool, that will help with receipt capture, or transaction reconciliation or categorization and automating that process. We have our AP feature, our AP platform, going to function to some of the other big players that you're probably familiar with already. We will handle that entire payment process, collecting the invoice and then managing payment. So RAMP will print and mail the check on behalf of your client. We'll send the ACH, we'll send the wire. There's a couple other platforms aren't noted here. One is our procurement platform. We have a travel platform. And the last element here that you're seeing on the right, accounting automation. Automation is built into everything that we do within RAMP. So there's direct integrations to all the big accounting systems, ERPs that you'd think of: QBO, QB Desktop, NetSuite, Sage Intacct, Dynamics 365, Acumatica, just to name a few. There's many others. So there's a real-time direct API two-way integration with these systems. And when I'm trying to conceptualize RAMP for the first time, when I'm speaking with a partner, with a client, RAMP is really a tool where any spend that a business incurs, except payroll, any spend aside from payroll that a business incurs can and should be living within RAMP. We will be processing it. We'll handle the accounting behind it. We'll have the feed into your accounting system. So it's really a one-stop shop for spend. I like this visual here because it kind of shows what a typical tech stack could be for any given business. Usually there's some sort of card. Usually there's some sort of expense management tool. There may not be, though. They could be doing things in a very archaic way, which we'll get into. They may or may not have something for AP. So folks might still be, raise your hand. I know we can't see you, but like raise your hand if you're getting a shoebox or electronic shoebox of receipts that you have to manage. And that's even if you get the receipt at month end. So you're badgering clients. RAMP is helping to eliminate that pain and that friction. AP, it pains me to think that, some of you might be physically writing checks on behalf of your clients and then having to put the postage on it and process that. RAMP will help alleviate all of that friction for you and streamline that process. So we can see here kind of where we sit in the space, consolidating the need for these types of tools and then integrating directly with the accounting system or with their respective bank. I want to run back to this slide quickly and call out that when a client gets access to one portion of RAMP, they get access to all of RAMP. So it's a holistic tool. Again, it's not segmented. You're going to get access to the whole thing. I do also want to call out firms or accounting operators will often ask, hey, can I use a different card with this? Will it integrate into the system? We won't integrate with another card. So to get the full capability and full function of our tool, the client would be using our ramp card. Moving along here, we'll spend some time on the AP element when we get into the actual demo. But just want to give a teaser of what's coming here. Complete vendor management, whether it's managing 1099s, their W-9s, the total automation behind that. Receipt capture, I love this visual. I have to give a shout out to my man Danny on the call here. If anyone is not, go ahead.
Let me chime in. So this is a funny story. This is actually my sister-in-law's desk, and this is how she was managing her receipts and her expenses. Left-hand side was unsubmitted, right-hand side was submitted. I think her company was on a system, maybe Concur, but she had this massive list or massive stack of receipts that somebody at her company was waiting for and hoping that she submitted, that it was accurate, timely, and then somebody else was in charge of reviewing that, and then this entire cycle just to get expenses into the right hands for review. So I kind of was bragging to her about my ramp card and that I've never had a receipt in my pocket for more than 30 seconds because I trash it as soon as I take a picture with my ramp app. So Mike, I'll hand it back to you, but I think one other piece here that I just want to emphasize with ramp is it's spend management versus expense management. Spend management is being proactive with where your money's going so your business can achieve goals. If you have a goal in mind and you're being proactive and intentional with your spend, that's what ramp's doing. Expense management, what people have been doing forever, is reacting to where your money's going. Where did our money go? Who spent what where? Are we within budget? Are we outside of budget? And ramp prevents that from happening.
Great call out, Danny. The slide that we're showing here, we don't need to spend a lot of time on it, folks, but it just I want to show the ways that your firm and your clients would be interacting with Ramp. So we have SMS, text messaging, we've got our mobile app, we have email, we have our web app, which we're going to take a look at together today. But to give a quick example of what a transaction could look like specifically related to card, a user swipes a card at a point of sale, whether it's physical or online, they immediately get a text message. And as we can see here on the left, there's the text message received listing the vendor, the dollar amount, and then Ramp will list out what is required of that card holder to submit. You all get to determine what those parameters are. Is it a receipt? Is it a memo? Is it a category? Is it a location? The card holder can text that information right back into the chat. That will flow directly into Ramp. And that receipt with all the other categorization items that we spoke about will flow into their accounting system. Again, it can be done via mobile app, email, whatever they prefer as well.
And Mike, do you think we're good to jump into a demo here? Or is there anything else in the PowerPoint that you wanted to touch on real quick?
I think let's jump into a demo. Yeah, let's jump into the demo here.
Good idea.
So taking a look, can we all still see my screen? Perfect. Yep. So taking a look here, folks, what we're looking at is an admin view of Ramp. The reason we know it's an admin view, there's a ton of tabs here on the left. The end user or the employee level would have a much more simplistic view into this tool. So we'll take a spin through a couple core pieces of this. One of them is this expenses and travel tab. We'll launch a card together. We'll initiate a payment for an invoice that's received. We'll take a look at reconciling a transaction. We can wrap up with some insights, rewards, and hopefully leave some time to address some of these questions that are coming up. So again, related to this expenses and travel on the right, we're showing the total credit limit that the business has been allocated. This is a monthly credit limit. It resets each month. The cash, the expense balance that business has incurred month to date, again, paid off at the end of the month. The cash back that they've earned, next payment date, etc. Moving into cards. So we have both virtual cards and physical cards. Incredibly easy to issue spend. It can be done in 30 seconds. Our virtual cards, I want you to think of them as micro budgets. You could have a budget or a virtual card that's assigned to your utility bill, another that's assigned to your phone bill, another, let's say your client has a construction business and that construction business has multiple projects that they're working on. You could assign a virtual card or a budget to each of those projects to kind of track the spend and have that all live in one place. So these virtual cards or virtual budgets can link to your physical card. What I mean by that is using it at a point of sale, you can still access that budget. We can go into how that works on another call, but just to spin through a couple main items here. Issue a dollar amount for this given budget. You can set a frequency, whether it's daily, weekly, some sort of interval. You can share this card amongst others. So let's say, maybe only one person needs to have access to this budget, or maybe you want an entire department or an entire location or an executive team to have access to the same pool of specific funds. Spend controls and restrictions. This area gets me excited. I think this is really cool, and it's a lot of like carrot and stick. And what I mean by that is we can restrict categories or merchants at the individual card level and be incredibly granular with specific merchants. Let's say this card is going to be dedicated to the Home Depot, will not work anywhere else now. Or they have ad spend like most businesses do. And so we create a card that's dedicated to Google ads and Facebook ads. You can plug whatever vendor you want into here. And now this card will only work for that vendor. And if you think back to the limit or the budget with the time interval, it's a two-way guardrail to one, prevent the employee from spending in ways that they shouldn't, but also to prevent a vendor from overcharging you. Same thing can be done at the category level. So if we ignore these vendors, we'll create a card. Let's say it's something for travel, your sales team. We can say this card only works for airlines, hotels, I think it's lodging, Ubers, restaurants, maybe supermarkets. And so now if that employee tries to go to Best Buy and get that new TV that they've been wanting, does not work. It's not one of these categories. We have some other restrictions that we can build into this, whether it be alcohol related or weekend spend or excessive tipping. Ramp will do all of those calculations. We will read the receipts and be able to track that and flag it for the parties that be, or just flat out block the spend. Other items to call out is this transaction coding rules. So this comes into where we're going to be helping the automation and the categorization of some of these transactions, whether that be, and what this looks like is, since we're linking directly into the chart of accounts within your accounting system, we'll pull the category, we'll pull the class, we'll pull the project, and you're creating a rule that says anytime this card gets swiped, I want it to automatically map to these fields, saving you guys a ton of time on the back end with reconciling. Coming over to bill pay, we'll breeze through this pretty quickly. There's a couple core tabs here: drafts for approval, for payment history. You can upload an invoice into Ramp, and once that invoice is uploaded, we'll take a look at an example here. Invoices on the left, you'll see that the information over here matches what's on the right. Anything that has a lightning bolt means we pre-filled it for you. Pre-filling the invoice number, the invoice date. We populated this description of goods or services. We broke out the line items so that you can individually categorize these. You can further segment them out, or you can collapse them, categorize the full invoice amount in one way. Time for payment, select your method of payment. Again, ACH, check, wire, pay by card. Don't pay with Ramp if there's a particular instance where you might not need to pay with Ramp, but you still want to have it go through the proper approval process. Select the counts and where it's going to be pulling from, where we want to send it to, etc. I think this is pretty straightforward here. Add a memo to the vendor, and then next stage is going to be an approval process where it can be conditional formatting, a spider web of choices of how we want to map things for approvals. Once it's all been approved, it travels through these different stages: who's next in the queue, what's out for payment right now, and then you can go back and look at the history. You can look at the physical check that Ramp print and mailed. You can look at the ACH tracking information all right here. Of course, there's an email an AP email inbox that you can have invoices auto forwarded to. You can bulk create invoices. You can have recurring invoices if you have some sort of recurring payment. So all of that are options within Ramp.
Mike, we'll have a couple questions that need to be answered if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Yes.
And
Let me take a look.
I'm gonna go ahead and run the fourth polling question. So if you're
Yes.
interested on getting more information or a personal demo about Ramp, just put yes or no, and we will send Danny and Michael your contact information, and then they will email you and set that up. So there's a lot of questions, and I'm gonna try to see how many we can get through. So one of it is the $25,000 minimum. Is that how does that work exactly?
So the $25,000 minimum is waived first off for accountants. So we want accountants to be on our platform. We want you guys to use it. So highly recommend, no issue there. From a client perspective, the way that we offer credit is based on the amount of cash or cash equivalents that a client has in their bank account. We have a deposit function if a client wants to hold Ramp with cash with Ramp, like a bank, but not required. And so we do ongoing periodic checks of how much cash our clients hold, and our credit limits will adjust accordingly. So the higher the cash, the higher the limit. Cash goes down, limit adjusts. If clients need a fixed credit limit, not fluctuating, we can facilitate that as well. Did that help answer that, Hector?
It did. The next question is, does it manage multiple currencies? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Danny did answer that. And does it handle job costing? So if I have an expense, can I select the customer project, the customer job that it talks to?
Correct. Yes.
It talks to QuickBooks Online and Xero?
Correct. Direct integration, two-way.
QuickBooks Desktop as well?
Correct. Direct integration.
Good job.
The last one here is interesting, from Janine about, is there a way the credit card holders see what receipts they still owe? So they're going to get reminded continuously. You have power as the admin to remind them ad hoc. And then there's even a feature in our Ramp Plus version that allows you to auto lock a card if employees aren't submitting this information in a timely manner, to say, hey, if you don't submit a receipt within 7 days, your card's getting shut off.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So just to clarify something, there is the Ramp card, which is using this virtual credit card or physical credit card so people can spend. And there's also importing a vendor bill so you can pay via ACH, correct? Those are the two ways that you help manage AP. Do you also write physical checks?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anybody thinking of, okay, I need a better system than QuickBooks to give credit cards to my employees so they can spend on stuff, and I can block cards, spool up virtual cards, add limits, add categories, keep them out of QuickBooks, of course, have them, possibly do their own categorization, but then it goes into an approval process before it goes to accounting, right? That's pretty much what we think about when we think about Ramp, and also uploading your bills and having those paid. Now, there was a question about contract management or purchase order management type of stuff. So if there's a vendor that you approve to pay them, let's say $100,000 over a year, and they're going to be invoicing sort of piecemeal as they do pieces of the contract, do you manage anything like that?
Correct. Yeah, with our procurement element. Danny, anything to expand on that?
Yeah, so you can upload contracts. I think it'd be worth a deeper conversation with the individual that asked that, to dive into the workflows and what's needed. I think there's a couple different ways we could manage it.
Okay, Danny, put your email or whatever contact information in the chat so that person can see and contact you directly, because these are very sort of in-depth type of questions. So talk about the pricing, and then we'll wrap it up. And just to remind everybody, the last polling question is for the first hour is up. The fourth polling question, go ahead and answer that. So talk about pricing, and then I'll take over in about 1 minute. You have 1 minute to do pricing.
Awesome. Great. That should be enough. Team, you'll probably love this. Pricing is free. We have two tiers, Ramp Free and Ramp Plus. Ramp Free, you're getting the whole kit and caboodle that we spoke about: cards, AP, unlimited users, direct integration to QBO, Xero, many other accounting systems, unlimited users, unlimited cards, unlimited budgets. send as many checks as you want. We'll process as many ACHs as you need. One thing to call out with the checks, I know some folks have reasonable concern about check fraud and check washing that's happening. If needed, we will have Ramp's account number on the bottom of checks. Side note. So as I mentioned, 2 tiers, Ramp Free, Ramp Plus. The other thing with Ramp Plus here is it's a flat rate of $12 per user per month when billed annually. This is going to be for businesses that have a little bit more of sophisticated or nuanced needs, whether their accounting system is more robust, it's a truer ERP, if they have international needs, if that specific element of procurement, in other words, like launching a purchase order and managing that specific small piece, that would be part of Ramp Plus. Complex accounting rules and or approval processes. It'll be a little bit more nuanced. I'd say about somewhere around 50% of our customer base are on Ramp Free. The other benefit from Ramp Plus. But we can again dive into the more nuanced needs with on a one-on-one call. But I do want to call out that this pricing is unique to coming through Ramp through our partner program. In other words, through Danny or I. If you come to Ramp through the front door, you go to our website and you take a look, not only will you likely be getting quoted different pricing for your clients, the cash back will also be less. And we also have a partner program in which we pay your firm $500 for each client. We also pay your clients an additional $500. So want to emphasize the importance of working directly through myself and with Danny and facilitating things that way.
And if you were to say a typical industry that's best when you think of Ramp, like a type of client, what is like sort of the best use case that you've seen where people go, yeah, this is like a no-brainer. It should be for these people.
Love that question. Truly, we are designed to cover every single industry and every single size of business. There's not one where we do better or worse at than others. We have our limitations in terms of like federally regulated industries that you'd expect, like cannabis. We can't directly work with those sorts of clients, but outside of that, if you have a business that incurs expenses, I think they can benefit from Ramp, whether it's a one owner, no employee business up to a large multinational business. I think Danny has something to cover.
One thing, like industry wise, but also from an accounting standpoint, like which clients take you the longest to close their books? Which clients are you chasing down for information? Which clients don't or have 10 different systems that they could consolidate under one? So a lot of times when I get that question about which industry, it's really like which client takes you the longest, because that's where Ramp's going to add the most value.
Perfect, guys. Thank you very much. That was an amazing presentation. We're going to go in a 10-minute break now. So we're officially in our 10-minute break. Hold on, let me put that up on the screen here. Give me a second. My back button is not working. So we're officially in a 10-minute break. We'll be back at 1:10 p.m. Eastern. We had like 50-something people that asked for more information. So we'll send you guys, Danny and Michael, their contact information. I have one more bonus poll because some people said the poll came off too quickly. One last bonus poll for people to catch up with their polling questions before our break. And I'll leave it up for another 10 seconds before we go to break. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Polling questions being closed. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Kendrick. Thank you, Casey, Fishbowl, Ramp. Thank you for being part of REFRAME 2024 and in this virtual tech conference. Hope to see you at REFRAME 2025 as well. Guys, I see everybody back in 9 minutes at this point. So we're on break. See you at 1:10 p.m. Eastern. And Matt, go ahead and get started while I close the polling question.
Okay, so tell me if this sounds familiar. It's the end of the month, you're trying to close your clients' books, and you have some transaction questions for them. Maybe you export a spreadsheet from QuickBooks, you email it to them, they do nothing with it. You wait 2 days, you email them again, they do nothing with it, and you finally get them to reply to say, this transaction should be categorized as office expense, You then go back into QuickBooks and update that transaction. That process was really the founding story of Keeper and why Keeper started. We basically wanted to help close the books faster and reduce all those little tedious tasks that just take up a ton of mind share, but don't actually need to be done by you yourself. So we started with that one use case, and over time we've added a client portal, automated file review tools, a receipt management tool that works really well on top of Ramp as well. We have a two-way sync with both QuickBooks and Xero. We also, instead of using a third-party task manager, we just built tasks and workflows into Keeper. And then additionally, with it being 1099 season, we can automatically collect W-9s all year long. So Keeper is built to be a practice management tool that can help you close the books. We really have two reasons that people use Keeper. The first is to save time. We can cut the time it takes to close the books usually in half, maybe even more, and then we can consolidate a lot of your tech tools into one tool. So a lot of people also say they cut their tech stack in half and don't need to manage nearly as many tools as they were before. We also, friend of the pod here, Hector, talks about using Keeper, basically saying that within one click, he can see how his entire practice looks, where all of his clients are, and I'll show you that view here in a second. So this view can be customized and tailored to whatever you need. You can track your clients, their close progress, any outstanding messages, any outstanding tasks. In this case, I can see Apex Co. and Atlantic Consultants are both not yet closed. But Apex Co. is one that you'd want to lean into and go work with a team member that's on that to say there's almost no progress. Whereas Atlantic Consultants, you can see they've got 7 ongoing chats. There seems to be a lot happening on that client. So let's jump into each feature, and then we can look at the actual product if we need to go even further. So first of all, Keeper has a portal that your clients will actually use. This can be customized and branded and put on your own website so that your clients feel like they're going to your site and interacting with you, but there's really no tech lift on your side at all. And then additionally, on your side, you can ask questions directly from the bank feed that will show up in the list of questions that your client can answer. You don't have to email them separately. You can also automate reminders. So instead of remembering, oh, it's been 3 days, I need to go back and ask Sally this question, you can basically say every Monday at 9 a.m., ask or send a reminder about any outstanding questions or transactions. And then again, it just brings all of that information into one place. So you're not messaging in email, texts, phone calls, and a different client portal. It's all happening in one place. Additionally, we have a mobile app. So this will be branded with your firm as well. So it gives your firm a lot of legitimacy to say, we have a client portal, we have a mobile app, and you can do nearly anything you can do on the desktop in the app. You can even upload images of transactions or documents and share them through the mobile app. So if you have a client that's constantly on the go and rarely at their computer, the mobile app is fantastic.
I do want to add something, a question.
Absolutely.
Question. One version of your subscription will say Keeper on it, and one will be completely white labeled, correct?
Yes, correct. So with the $10 a month plan, then you can have the white labeled client portal. Good catch.
Yeah, thank you.
Additionally, because we have that integration with QuickBooks, we are constantly looking for any anomalies in your books and anything that we might need to catch or clean up. So maybe you've got all 4 or 4 all promos, which is usually categorized as marketing. In this case, it was tagged as office supplies, and we can either update that automatically or just notify you so it's something you can clean up. So a lot of people are doing their final file review in just a few minutes, looking for any anomalies and moving on. It just makes all the back and forth of switching tabs and double checking your work really, really easy. You can also look at all of your clients. So if you want to keep an eye on your own clients, but also the clients of a couple team members, it gives you that same visibility, really the 10,000 foot view. Keeper, one of our primary benefits is our two-way deep integration with both QuickBooks and Xero. So any changes made in QuickBooks are reflected in Keeper, and more importantly, any updates made in Keeper are automatically synced back to QuickBooks. And so you don't have to download a CSV and upload it somewhere else. They're seamlessly integrated. And then we also have a handful of Zapier integrations to work with other apps outside of QuickBooks and Xero. It's 1099 season. Right now, you may be in the situation where you are desperately asking people for W-9s and trying to finish this. Keeper will identify which vendors you need to get a W-9 from and just ask them in real time. So throughout the year, you can be aggregating all of those W-9s and request those automatically. Also, those documents are then uploaded to QuickBooks, and we make it really easy to export to Track 1099 or Tax 1099. And so a lot of people say they pay their annual subscription to Keeper just in the first month of the year because they've saved so much time running down W-9s from everyone. Also, I'll just add, being that it's January now, it's not too late if you still need to file 1099s. It's not too late right now to jump in and use this feature. Or if you've already finished for the year and you think, I don't want to go through that again, Keeper can basically stay on top of it starting now for 2025. And let's talk about task management. A lot of people use a spreadsheet to track their workflow or what tasks are outstanding. Some people use something like Asana or another purpose-built project management tool. Because Keeper's project management is based where you're doing your work, it's easy to check off tasks and you see your task where you're performing the work. So it just is a much more seamless process. You can also see of your team members, if you've delegated tasks, you can see if those are being done or not right from your Keeper dashboard. And let's talk about receipts for a second. Whether you're using Ramp or not, we close our own books with Keeper, and we're also a customer of Ramp. But there are transactions that happen that you may need a receipt for. And so it just makes it really easy to still get your receipts from your clients. They can email it to you, they can text it to you, they can upload an image in the mobile app. However they upload it, we just make that process of aggregating those receipts really easy. Also, we can process those receipts, and we can even post to the ledger and create a new transaction if it's a cash transaction or something like that. So we just make receipt capture really, really easy.
Since you mentioned another app, and sometimes people listen to apps comparing each other, mentioning other apps, I just want to make sure that it's clear that Keeper doesn't do accounts payable management, right? So
No.
you talked about within the context that if you are managing accounts payable with Ramp, you're probably running the receipts through Ramp, and you don't need to run them through Keeper. But from the perspective of a client that's not using accounts payable management, and they're not going into QBO and uploading the receipts because maybe the transactions don't exist, or you don't want the client to create the transactions in QBO because they'll make a mess, you will use Keeper as the workflow to upload the receipts into it and allow Keeper to be the place where you enter those transactions. So if you want to create a workflow to go from receipt to entry from your practice management system instead of the other way. Just wanted to add that because I want to make sure people don't confuse when you mention multiple apps at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. And it's possible you've got a lot of clients and you're only doing receipt capture for one or two of those. And so that's a fantastic example. So now if I put my Steve Jobs turtleneck on and I say, I've got one more thing, we've got something hot off the press that I wanted to talk about, and that is Keeper emails, or really our inbox. And this is really a momentous new feature that we're dropping and starting the new year with this. So a lot of people have been asking for something like this. If you've used something like Superhuman, that's a shared email inbox for a team, it is something like that. So in this case, we've got a new tab in the top called your inbox. You can have both your company email and your personal email. So like a shared inbox and your personal email here. And what's really fascinating is you can add comments to an email. So basically, if Hector emails me and asks me for something, and I think, oh, I don't know the answer to that, I'm going to ask I'm going to ask Maddie on my team. I might chat her in the inbox, and she can see the emails and say like, oh, that won't be ready until February 1st. I can then reply. So it brings a lot of that email triage and management into one place, just where you, and especially if you have team turnover, you don't want to lose track of all those email conversations that have happened. So email really is a giant improvement for the product as well.
Matt, do you can you show this in this part in the live demo, or is that not available in the live demo yet?
Let's look at it really quick. So from the home page, you just go into the inbox, and in this case, I just have this demo example where if I just pull this up, I can see an email. I can come down and comment on it. This is not visible to the client. I can tag Maddie and say, hey, check this out, or she can reply back on this thread or view the thread. And you can see all the previous documents that have been uploaded here as well. So
just to draw a distinction, you can reply emails from here. So essentially, Keeper is connecting to your mailbox. And if the email from the client is attached to a contact in Keeper, then it shows up in here, and any communication back and forth in your email that's linked to a contact in Keeper will stay sort of as part of the linked communications with that client. But what's interesting is the comment box is you're not replying or forwarding to your team. You're adding notes to that your whole team can see, but your customer doesn't. So this completely replaces. This is probably the reason why people have been requesting this feature. Is this replaces the need to be forwarding stuff to team members all the time and having those crazy threads, where you take an email where a customer says, can you do XYZ, or here's a spreadsheet for whatever, and you forward it to Mike, and then Mike works on it and then forwards it to John. It's just like it keeps your email communication with your client very holistic. Like just reply your emails, and there's no sort of in between employee member forwarding. It's just the commenting, which I think is very powerful. I have a question for this. So does this mean that if I'm the firm owner, right, and I connect my email, that means that all my team members can see all my emails with all my clients, or do I have any certain control over what my team members can see?
I know you have control. I don't know the exact specifications, but you do have privacy. And I think you can set it up where you can see other like you could see your team's emails, but they wouldn't see yours. And I'll have to get more specification on that because it's so new. But all of a sudden you're not all of a sudden airing your dirty laundry or even your clean laundry to your entire firm.
Perfect. Okay. Now the part that, because we only got a few minutes left, the part where I think is the most powerful piece, like, whenever you ask me for for the reasons why I like Keeper, is the QBO cleanup workflow and the reports inside Keeper. So could we show that, and then I'll during the transition we'll talk about pricing, so we can
Totally.
Yeah.
While I pull this up, just a couple of quick things. If I go into Sean's suites, I'm not going to start a timer, but I could. I can basically every month you can automatically generate a report based on all of their metrics that you can share with your client. So This one's going to have a lot of dummy data in it, but I can, with just the click of a button, come in here, update a few things, look at revenue, cost of goods sold, operating expenses. You can customize these as well. And these are, again, automatically generated and worthy to share directly with your client.
Matt,
So,
let me,
yeah.
I need to add some context as a firm owner. This is the benefit of
Yeah.
having a firm owner that
Yeah,
uses
totally.
here, is that you can go in QuickBooks and generate reports and email them to your clients all day long. Your client can go into QuickBooks and pull reports all day long. The challenge that we have on report delivery is, number one, there could be different versions of the report. So version 1 of the P&L before adjustments A, and then before adjustments B and adjustment C. And the customer needs to now go back to the emails and go back to the 3 different emails where you have 3 different P&Ls. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2, the customer can log into QuickBooks, maybe don't know how to do the filters or the right date range, or maybe something has changed. So what I like about having reports in Keeper is that this is the official report. Like, we finished our work. We finished the closing of December. This is the official report in which we bless this as our work is done, and it's a permanent record, regardless of what happens in QuickBooks after the fact, regardless of how organized or disorganized the customer might be with all their emails. So it's like one place where you can have your official deliverable organized in a very simple place for the customer to see and for you to see, because sometimes you, like, this happens all the time with tax preparers and stuff. It's like, which version of the email did the tax preparer use to prepare, of the report to prepare the tax return? And so that it's very, very valuable to have the official month closing reports or the annual reports in a single place, plus the fact that you didn't mention this, but you do get these cool little dashboard and summaries that you don't get in QuickBooks Online.
Yeah, 100%. Hector, we should have just had you do the presentation.
Yeah.
You're
But you don't pay me enough for that, Matt.
Yeah,
Show us real quick, because we're gonna transition over to Anchor. So let's go over the pricing real quick, and then maybe for like 30 seconds, show the QBO integration piece, because that really is what makes Keeper different than anybody else.
Pricing's quick and easy. It is basically most of our customers use the premium tool, which is $10 per client per month. You only pay for the clients that you do connect to QuickBooks. So if you have other clients that that you maybe do some advising for, but are not, you're not doing your monthly QuickBooks work, those clients are free. You can still use all the features. You just don't have the integration with QuickBooks.
So that's really important. Okay, so Keeper, as long as you have one paying client, you have Keeper, right? So you got one paying client, you have Keeper. A paying client is a client that you connect QuickBooks to. There's a very specific reason why you want to connect QuickBooks to it, is because you want to pull the data for the reports, and you want to be able to do bookkeeping workflows inside Keeper. That way you're not working in QuickBooks and in Keeper, okay? If you use another app like Senate, okay, Senate is powerful like Keeper, in some ways not as powerful, and in some ways more powerful, okay? But what Keeper does is, it's both your practice management, your task management, your status updates for all your monthly closings, plus connecting to QuickBooks, plus reports delivery. And you pay per client, not per user, so you can have a gazillion employees in your firm accessing different, you can choose which clients they have access to. You don't pay per customer, you only pay, sorry, you don't pay per employee, you only pay per customer. And you have $8 and $10. The $10 one gives you the white labeling, which I really think where the big value is. And I think if you what are you gonna do? You're gonna email Matt and mention REFRAME, and you get your firm started, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. This QR code works as well if you want to pull up your phone, but
we also have a polling question, Matt.
oh yeah, okay.
Where we have like 60 people that requested more information via email, so we'll capture it that way. Just show us real quick a QuickBooks integration. We have to transition over to Anchor. Do you have one available now, or?
I was going to show you this really fast. Basically, if you add a new client, you hit connect to QuickBooks, and you're going to log in and authenticate to QuickBooks. And then from then on, your file is basically connected to QuickBooks. So all of your entire ledger that's in QuickBooks is in Keeper, And if you go through and add comments or change something that's, your categorized transaction in Keeper is then updated in QuickBooks as well. So that's kind of a goofy way to explain it, but it basically is a read and write connection to QuickBooks.
I think it'll be easier to show like a bookkeeping process. So you go into like uncategorized transactions or something like that, where it'd probably be the best way to illustrate what it is. Like, and this is like the one thing that makes Keeper particularly unique. And you gotta find the file that's connected.
Yeah, I was going to say they're all here are like uncategorized transactions.
Okay, there you go. So
There we
let me do that part, Matt. Yeah. So once you connect, and this is why Keeper stands out. Okay, and I actually have two practices. I have a tax practice and I have a bookkeeping practice, and they're so different. Just the way they work, they're so particular. Like our the people that work in it, the processes, the requirements, and like for us, it made most sense to keep our bookkeeping practice because it was a QBO bookkeeping practice 100% in Keeper, and our tax practice in TaxDome, which will be demoed tomorrow. Now, I'm not going to say one's better than the other. In some ways, Keeper is better. In some ways, TaxDome is better. But if you are a QuickBooks Online-centric accountant or bookkeeper, the big value of this is not having to swap between your practice management system and QBO. You can do your uncategorized transactions, uncategorized assets. You can categorize them here. Not just that, you can ask the client for it. The client gets a message through the portal. They can also get it via email. They respond back, actually just the portal, but they respond back and they say, okay, this was when I went to New York for conference A, B, and C or whatever. There's some templates too for asking. And then once they give you the response back, you come in and you add notes or categorize, you hit send or whatever, or submit, and it makes the change in QBO. So what happens is it queues up the work inside Keeper, so you don't have to be switching back and forth. And will you be 100% out of QuickBooks? No, but like 80% of the work that we do for a closing perspective gets done through Keeper. So we found that it like we do this portion, in about 2 to 3 hours a month versus it used to take 5 to 6 hours a month. So we've found that at least 2 hours a month, this will save us by doing the stuff here. Then we go into QBO, do the whatever stuff Keeper can do in QBO, then prepare the reports and do the closing finally in here. So Matt, I just wanted to give that context real quick. Awesome. I think sometimes it's better to hear it from somebody that actually be using this for a long time. I have the last polling question is up. We'll have you guys turn off your webcams. Thank you very much, Keeper, for being part of REFRAME 2024 and this virtual conference. And we have Omri from Anchor. So Omri, before I give you the power, I'm going to end this poll. And then what I'll do is I'll ask another poll back to back. So we'll have two polls back to back. And I want to ask you, what do you currently use for proposal, engagement, client payment management? So assuming that you're an accounting professional, bookkeeper, tax preparer, how are you managing that? Are you using one of the options there was Keeper. I think I should have put Anchor there, but it doesn't matter. So what are you using now for managing proposals, engagements, and client payments? And then put in the chat Anchor if you actually use Anchor already, so all the other people can see that that you are an Anchor user, and they can maybe ask some questions. And if you use something else that's not Anchor, go ahead and put it in there. If you use Ignition or Dubsado or whatever the other systems are out there. Again, this is the 7th polling question. There will be one last polling question before we wrap it up at 2 p.m. Eastern. So this polling question says, what do you currently use now? Do you use QuickBooks or email? Do you use another platform? Do you use, or are you not an accountant where this is not relevant to you? And by the way, one thing that's kind of important, kind of valuable, is that the Anchor was designed for accountants, but now we're actually seeing, like I'm seeing a lot of clients right now that can see value on using an app like like Anchor, even though it wasn't necessarily designed for my construction clients or whatever. But it's really interesting. And then as you kind of see the demo, you actually go, oh wait, my accounting firm can benefit from this, but maybe some other one of my clients can benefit from this. And this, I think this will be interesting. So there's polling question number 7 is up right now. We're about to close it. The question is, what do you use now for proposals, engagements, and payments? So 3, 2, 1, closing the polling question. Should be polling question number 7. We have about 85% of people answering. So I'll close the polling question. And Omri, can you share your screen? There we go. Go ahead.
All right. So first of all, thank you. I think that the reason that we're all here is Hector. So apart from writing who you're using, you can feel free to say Hector rocks. And I want to, just thank you for allowing us to do this after REFRAME and visit with all the people. It was a ton of fun, and we're definitely going to be back, the upcoming REFRAME, and I hope everybody here will do the same. So about Anchor, what we were doing is we're trying to make sure that you get paid without chasing your money. So I'm Omri, I'm one of the founders in the company, and in every business prior to Anchor that I had, I always had to chase payments. And it's not because my clients were bad people, it's because the concept that we as service provider issue an invoice and then wait to be paid is just, it's an anomaly that was needed to be solved, and this is exactly what we're doing. So I'll jump right in, and I want to show you how Anchor works and what's in it. Normally, so first of all, what we're a revenue automation system that does everything from the proposal, the engagement letter, onboarding the client, invoicing them, getting paid, processing it, and transferring the funds over to you. And the magic happens actually before the billing even begins, at the agreement stage or the proposal stage. Instead of sending a document that is a PDF based, meaning it's paper based, even if it's digital, like DocuSign, you actually send them a link with your branding that lists your services, the pricing, the terms, and everything is very, very tight. There's not a lot of wording and everything, so that the client can actually really, really quickly understand what they need, sign it with their finger. And the minute they sign it, the screen will flip, and then we'll ask them for their payment information in advance. We're not charging them yet, but we're asking them to provide it so that you won't have to chase it later. So they can actually choose between a free ACH, which is completely free for you and completely free for them, or they can, if they want to opt in to use a credit card, great, but they are paying the 2.9%. And there's no liability to you because they're actually doing it through the Anchor platform and basically choosing how, what's comfortable for them. So once that's done, you actually have a binding agreement with the payment information connected to it, and it holds everything that you're supposed to bill them later on. So the invoices will be generated automatically directly from the agreement, so that you don't have to do invoicing anymore. And because we already collected the payment information, that collection sort of is happening with an automatic ACH pool or credit card pool. We then transfer the funds to you and sync it automatically to QuickBooks. There's other really, really nice benefits to this because it's not just an auto fix. You can have different ways of pricing. You can have, a recurring, but that is fixed. You can have something that's arranged. You can have hours. You can use it in very, very different ways. You can have packages that we'll see soon. And something we've added recently that has been tremendously popular is an auto price increase. Normally what happens is that a lot of us shy away from the friction of raising our prices. And so what we're enabling to do now is in the agreement, when they sign it, they're already pre-approving, you know, the next year price increase. So basically, I'm just going to wrap it up. We have it's multiple tools that are all connected in a way that there's no silos of information and everything just flows. So from getting the proposal to collecting the payment information, generating the invoices, actually pulling the money and having it reconciled, it's all happening in one flow. And I think like the best way to show it is actually jump into the demo. But before we do, I want to just talk a little bit about the price, which is very, very, very straightforward, meaning we don't have a subscription. There's no minimums, no commitment of any sorts. It's a flat $5 fee for payment received, meaning if it's $1,000 invoice, we will do everything and only charge $5, meaning we'll transfer $995. And that's it. So you can have one invoice, you can have 1,000 invoices, and it doesn't matter the amount. It could be 10,000, and then it will still be $5, or it could be $1,000. It doesn't matter. It's a very, very transparent, very flat rate, so that we keep it simple. And I think now we can actually jump to the other Omri with an I, to take over and do the demo, unless Hector, you have something to add.
I don't get into the demo. I will add some stuff during the demo because I was so full disclosure. I actually started using Anchor about 2 years ago, and it was good then. It's great now, and it had some feedback to give, and I gave some very specific feedback about how I want to present pricing packages to. I do a lot of value pricing, and I do a lot of packages to. 2 packages, 2 options, 3 options. We did some transition to subscription model. Some of our clients are in subscription. That required a brand new way to present the pricing options. So I spoke to Omri and the team, and I said, I need this, I need this, I need that, and they actually delivered everything I asked for. So like the Anchor it's a piece of software that I think is not just really easy to use, but it has really powerful features for a very anal accountant like I am, or what I expect from a software package. So go ahead and do the demo, and then I'll add some notes where I think it needs to.
Wonderful. Hector, I just want to confirm that everybody can see my screen. Is that okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. So I'm the second Omri. Was brought out here a few years after the original Omri, and I'm really happy to be here. Excited. Happy to also see other vendors here. So let's get down to it. I want to start for a second explaining how Anchor is built in terms of how easy it is to start with Anchor, how easy it is to set up your account. Really helps to understand later on how easy it is to use it, how it is to send proposals, how easy it is to manage agreements, and really make full use of the entire set of functionalities that we have on Anchor. So a couple of things. When you join Anchor, the whole idea initially is to really structure anything in advance. When you join, you actually build in advance everything, including your contacts. You just add your contact initially. All right, I'm going to talk later on how you sync with QuickBooks. And of course, you bring in your services as well. You structure everything in advance. Now, what does it mean, services on Anchor? That's like the basic thing, and I'm sure Hector, you will have a lot to say about that. But the idea eventually is that the way that we treat services is like building blocks. Services on Anchor are like building blocks. So you have a catalog of all of your services. You create them in advance. So later on, when you're building your proposals, you just add them to your proposal. You assemble everything. So you do that with your contacts, with your services, and with your payment and billing settings. You create everything in advance. Now, let's talk about what's a service. Pull in one service. Let's take recurring bookkeeping, $750.
I want to just add some context here. So when you first set up Anchor, your Anchor could be blank, like you could have basically no services in there, or you can have a templated set of services. So depending on what you do. So maybe you're only doing this for tax and you don't need to have bookkeeping and payroll and sales tax, all that stuff. Maybe you don't do tax and only you do bookkeeping. So you can actually create these services totally custom, and you create them. When you create them, just think about like an item or product or service in QuickBooks. You create them and it shows up in a drop-down menu. And then when you pick it, it has all the default information, the description, the price, the way it's billed, the terms, but you create them generically based on the average clients that you're going to bring in. But then when you put the proposal together, you edit and customize them. So you don't have to create an item for every single different type of client and scenario you can have. You create these generic items based on the scope of work, especially if you productize your services and you have like a core bookkeeping package and a deluxe bookkeeping package and an unlimited bookkeeping package. And then these bookkeeping packages, some include something and don't include other things. So that's really important. So as you go in and edit it, just think that this is going to be your default service, and you can make little tweaks when you actually put them in a proposal.
Exactly. I think that this is it's a default item basically, and then you can add it to your proposal and change it as you want. You're not tied down to those default services. You can create whatever you want. It's very flexible, and you'll see that throughout the process, throughout this demonstration, how flexible it is. Now, this is just one service. You can create as many as you like. As to this service specifically, you have 3 parts, just 3 parts per service, 3, let's call it setting parts. You have your name here. The description really helps set the expectations. You can share all the pieces of information is related to that specific service, the scope, what you're delivering, your responsibilities, the client responsibilities, the timeline, any piece of information that you fit should be suitable and should be shared with the client. Once they go through the proposal, should be shared here. And on the right side, you have your billing setting. Now, there's a lot of functionality here. For example, the billing occurrence could be one time, could be recurring as of weekly, bi-weekly, all the way to annually. As to pricing, you can see that we have fixed price, price per hour, price per unit, and of course, price range, which is really cool. It really helps you to reserve the right to later on name your price. So you're billing them manually, but your collection of the payment is still automatic. We call it, it's protecting your revenue. It means that it's hard for you at that specific point to quantify exactly what would be the amount of, basically the price that would represent the amount of work that you've done. So later on, when you complete the service, you just go into your agreement. We're going to see later on how that looks like. And you just put the right number and press bill. So the billing might be manual, but the payment itself, collecting the payment, it's still automatic. So you reserve the right for you to execute that. That's the rate. Sorry.
I'll add something. That's great. I'll add something to that. So if you do fixed price, when you put the package together, the customer signs, puts their credit card, and they just get charged automatically, right? That's probably the best, most smoothest way of working. If you pick per hour or per unit, when you put the proposal in, you have to enter the quantity. So I get that. That's how it does the math calculation. But if you put range, you can't automate it. Like the customer just agrees to the number range, and then after they agree, then you have to go in there and then basically invoice it once you tell it what number within the range it falls. So it depends really on how you do stuff. I know some people do like charge by the hour, but then they want the customer to actually sign something that says that they will pay at least 1,000 and at most 2,000. So you can still get people to sign agreements, and you can automate the intake process and the engagement signature without necessarily having to have one specific fixed amount, which is a recent thing that they added, which is interesting because there was some accountants were requesting that. But like if I had it my way, and of course I like the fact that you have it, I would never do that, right? I would always have a fixed fee. That way I can automate the accounts receivable. Go ahead.
Cool. So that's just one. Thank you for that, Hector. This is just one service, right? The idea is to really create services that represents the way that you operate, that the business operates, and in a flexible way, of course. Now we have just one. How about we'll move on right now, and we're going to just build one proposal together. So I want to show you for a second what's a blank proposal looks like. So we'll do that here. I'm going to go to proposals. Hold on for a second. I'm going to create a proposal here. Now, this is a blank proposal. In a few seconds, I'm going to show you something a bit more robust. But this is where you create your proposals. I like to consider this as like a studio, basically. Since when you join Anchor, you create everything in advance. Like you create your services, your contacts, your settings, your billing and payment terms. Of course, you're not tied down to it. But the idea is just to pull that information to this proposal that you're seeing here. So every proposal has actually dedicated parts for each of those different piece of information, right? So in here, for example, you have your agreement details. So that's the name, primary contact. You can add from an existing list or just add a new contact, which is really cool. Why? Because if you add it through here, you can push that as a new client automatically into QuickBooks because we sync automatically with QuickBooks. You don't need to do it twice. So once you add a new client on Anchor, we create that record on QuickBooks, save you that workflow. Anchor is all about saving you time, saving you manual work, unbillable work, and just making sure that everything runs smoothly. You can add additional recipients if you have multiple signers. You can have them required to sign as well. The effective date, introductory message. You can even include an introductory video, which is new. It's really cool. I see a lot of vendors are taking advantage of that. We're going to skip for a second the services. Then you have your payment settings and agreement settings. Now the payment settings.
Let me add something. I'll add something on the intro video because that's a feature dear in my heart. So the intro video, you could either put a YouTube URL if you have like a sort of a generic intro video for all your clients. So, like I'll send a video to my client that goes, hey, thank you very much for joining QBK Accounting. We're very excited to work with you. You're going to love our super high-tech portal that we have and the service that we give you. We are committed to XYZ and we guarantee XYZ. Thank you very much. Hope that you like this proposal process. If you have any questions, make sure to contact us. A generic thing you could put in YouTube. But if you're going to do a video for Mike and you're going to say, hey, Mike, thank you very much for coming in. We're excited to work with your construction firm. Then you would use something like Loom. So like, I think it's very cool that you actually can do either a Loom video, which is really good for like a lot of different short videos, and a generic YouTube video.
So it gives a much more personal attribute to that relationship. So basically, after you complete that first part, you're left with just services, payment settings, and agreement settings. Now, because you do everything in advance and you create everything in advance, the payment settings and the agreement settings are actually pre-populated with information that you had, but you're not tied down to it. You can change whatever you want. So for example, in the default settings and generally in Anchor, the client, he is the one who pays the credit card processing fees, right? So that's the default on Anchor. If you use credit, the client is the one who pays the processing fees. But if you want to switch that, you can definitely do it. You can create the number of days until the payment is due. You can switch and you create whatever you want. If you have your terms and conditions in terms of the engagement letter, you create that in your default settings. We pull it here, but you can create a couple and you can pull the relevant one. And there's a lot of things that you can change, including notes and the automatically approve amendments after a defined period. This is cool. I just want to dwell on that for a second. The whole idea here is to actually making changes to your agreement after it was signed. The whole idea is that Anchor's agreements and proposals are flexible, right? And when you come to think about it, what's an agreement? That's the contractual manifestation of the relationship. Now, if that relationship changes, ideally the agreement needs to be able to change as well, easily. But sometimes that's hard. You see that sometimes you need to revoke an agreement, create a new one, create an amendment or an addendum of such sort. The idea is to evolve and grow with the relationship easily without creating further workflows and redundant manual processes. So on Anchor, once you need to change something, you go to your agreement, you change whatever you want, if it's the price, the scoping, whatever you need, and you press save. At that moment, the client will get a notification that they have between 1 to 30 days to either accept or reject that change. Otherwise, it will be automatically accepted, and that change will go into effect across the value chain. So you don't need to change your invoices accordingly to your agreement because the billing is connected and the payment to the agreement. That's the magic moment. So,
and Omri, as we wrap up, we only got a couple minutes left. I really want people to see what the customer sees, because this is like the big thing about every single payments management, engagement management system is how complicated it is for a customer to agree to something versus like Anchor, just like this is the focus that they have, is to make this process very easy. So this is what he's showing in the screen. This is what the customer sees on the agreement. Go ahead.
So this is where everything comes to place. Like we build everything. Now this is the client experience, right? This is actually the proposal. First of all, everything here is customizable. You can change the colors, you can change the logo, you can change whatever you want. Really give it more of a personal touch. Now that's the first part. That's the introductory message. That's what we saw. After that, we go on to review the agreements. This is the video. By the way, everybody, this is mobile friendly, so you can access that from anywhere. It's very, very accessible in that sense. That's the video. Then we move on to selecting packages. Now you can create multiple packages on Anchor and let your client choose. You can play around with that, really create the right pricing structure and let your client choose their favorite and more suitable option to accommodate the way that they operate. So this is definitely a good option. Your client can go in, they can see exactly what they're getting. And after they make a decision, they press select and they move on. Now, this is where the client can actually see the services, the scope of the services, how much they're paying, the billing, and that's what you're seeing here. So once they click on one of the services, you see everything here, the scope, the time frame, everything here. Now, I want to just do something here quickly, Hector, just 1 second. Just want to add something here to this one here, because we jumped over that. So, as you can see here, by the way, and we jump over that, I'm just going to explain that easily. Quickly, this is something that I just want to make sure, because it's a part of the setting that we didn't cover that. That's the automatic annual price increase. This is something brand new that we released just a few months ago. It is actually a built-in price increase that you can create as a part of the service. That means that you don't need to do it manually every year or every basically piece of duration. That's going to happen automatically. So if, for example, you're going to press increase this by 3%, that's it. It's going to go up by 3% every year on an agreement anniversary. There is no manual work. There is no friction with the client. It's just a part of that subscription, basically. Just wanted to put that out there. We didn't have the time to touch that. So going back to the packages, let's take this one, for example. Now, again, back to that, you're seeing your services here. You can add optional services. You can include whatever you want here. It's a great way to increase contract value, allow your clients to choose if it's something that you didn't cover.
Really quick. I'm going to launch the last polling question, Omri, because it's at the top of the hour and some people have places to go, et cetera, et cetera. But thank you very much. And, you know, it's 20 minutes is not enough to showcase all the amazing things that Anchor has. So I just want to tell you, I've been using this because it just dropped that simple for my customers to pay. They can pay via credit card. They can pay via ACH. Via ACH is free. It doesn't cost the client anything, but you pay the accountant. You will pay $5 per payment. There's no subscription fee for Anchor. And then if the customer chooses credit card, you pay the 2.9% just like any other credit card companies. But then you have the option to transfer the fee over to the client, and the client gets to see the exact rate that they're paying. So it's not going to be a surprise to them. Omri and Anchor, thank you very much for being supporters of both REFRAME 2023 and REFRAME 2024. Out of the 4 vendors that were here today, you guys were in both. So thank you very much, and probably we'll see you in REFRAME 2025. The last polling question is up. Basically, if you're interested in getting more information about Anchor or a personal demo, go ahead and put yes, and then they will send you an email. And there's an offer for a $50 credit. So basically, those first $50 that you'll pay, the $5 per ACH fee, they're covered by Anchor for being part of this webinar series. So thank you very much for that. And we're going to wrap it up. Guys, you can turn off your webcam. Thank you very much. And I do have a 1 hour detailed recording with Anchor in the RightTool channel. And I want to include that in the email that I'm going to send tomorrow with all the recap of everything we have today and the resources and the slides and all that stuff. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna spend another. I know some people are gonna drop off, and I get it, no problem. I am going to do my part, which is to talk a little bit about REFRAME 2025 and society. So REFRAME, again, we covered earlier. It's a live event that we do every year. Next one's coming up in November 2025. This webinar series was based on the experienced partners, the software companies that supported the physical event. But one thing that's very important is I personally hand select the people that apply to come to REFRAME. And no software company that doesn't pass my standards, something that I would use, that my clients would use, something I would recommend, they wouldn't be at my event. So Anchor, Ramp, Fishbowl, Keeper, they're all apps that either I use or I would personally recommend to my clients. So if you want to be part of REFRAME or anything that REFRAME does, something that, like my brother Carlos and I do, we have an Exactly What to Say for Accounting Professionals book. So if you don't already own the book, check out that link. This is a book about salesmanship, about communications, about a better way to ask smart questions from your clients. So check it out if you already have that. That it should be in the slides. If you're interested in coming to ReFrame 2025, the physical event is going to be in Coral Gables, Florida. We'll call it Miami, in Coral Gables, Florida, and it's a $2,000 ticket. We were sold out right before we released the date. After we released the date, we had a couple refunds because people couldn't make the days. So we do have some available spots. So if you're interested, there's the link to that. And lastly, we have an ongoing online community with live monthly rethink sessions and mastermind sessions. So if you're an accounting professional that wants to level up, network with other accounting professionals, learn about pricing, learn about relationships, negotiations, practice management, all that stuff. You can schedule a call with Carlos, who runs that, my brother, who runs that community called ReFrame Society. The link is on the slides if you are interested. So anyway, thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon. We're waiting for everyone to join the room. Welcome to our day 2 of our 4-hour CPE event, ReFrame Virtual Tech Showcase. I'm Carlos Garcia. Joining me is Hector Garcia and a few of our partners, technology partners that we'll be presenting later today. So we're excited. For those of you who joined yesterday, we had a lot of tremendous positive feedback on some of the product demos. And so we're going to go ahead and kick it off. We see that the room is now full. So welcome to day 2. So let's talk a little bit about what we want to accomplish out of our conversation today. So we're briefly going to go over the agenda about this webinar series. We're also going to thank some of the partners that have been part of this journey with us. These were some of the experienced partners that joined our ReFrame event last year in Miami, South Florida. And we're excited because this is an opportunity for you to have a deeper dive and understand what are some of the technologies out there that are going to help you be more focused on optimizing your firm and providing better experience for your clients, and have cutting edge access to tools and resources to differentiate yourself from the competition. And so today is our day 2, and we're going to have partners like the Intuit Enterprise Suite, which Hector is going to demo for us. We're going to talk about TaxDome, which is an all-in-one practice management software, and I happen to be a certified consultant in that space, and so I'll be able to demo with you some of the key features with that. We have partners from MakersHub, who is AI-enabled AP automation for QuickBooks, our partners from ADP, which will show you some new and exciting tools to help you manage your payroll and other amazing resources inside of your business. And then we have our friend Chris, who's also going to be joining, talk about Flash Reports, custom reporting tool for Excel and for QuickBooks Online. So this is what our agenda looks like for today. So we're going to kind of jump right in and talk a little bit about first giving a big thank you to all of our software partners who were also our experienced partners in ReFrame 2024. As you know, ReFrame, our mission is to help elevate and rebrand the accounting profession by helping accounting professionals be more forward-thinking, innovative, and really try to differentiate themselves and save the profession from itself, as Hector likes to say. And we could not make our mission be accomplished without the support and help of these partners. So thank you to Fishbowl, Ramp, Anchor, Keeper, RightTool, Fanatical Software, ADP, MakersHub, LifeFlow, TaxDome, and Intuit for being part of that. Now, a little bit about the webinar series. So this is our virtual tech showcase, which we'll probably do once a year. This is our first inaugural annual event. So far, we've gotten some great feedback from it. 185 of you are here, so we're excited. We're here to demonstrate value. We're going to go straight to the demo, what it is, how you can visualize how it can work for you. But in addition to that, Hector and I are actually conducting 2025 ReFrame webinar series, which are going to be 1 hour CPE per webinar. Now, the theme of every year in ReFrame is going to be based on things that are going to help you elevate your firm. Last year, our theme was around having more influential conversations in the right moments inside of your business, whether it's if you're leading your team or you're trying to develop higher quality value conversations with your customers, how to present your value better, is how do you communicate better? Because where you know that technology is going to automate a lot of processes, the human component is going to be more important than ever. So this year, the theme is going to be around pricing with confidence. And we're going to kick that off on January 24th, 2025. It's going to be every fourth Friday of the month. And it ends on October 24th, 2025, leading up to our capstone annual event, which is the REFRAME 2025 in Miami, Florida, from November 2nd to November 5th. That will be conducted in person. And I know many of you are already excited to attend. Don't know if we have the chat firing off, Hector. If we get folks to say hi on the chat and allow them to ask questions or add any comments as we go along here.
Everyone
Anything you
should
would
be
add, Hector?
Everyone should be able to use the chat now. Sorry, I had it turned off.
Great. There we go. We got John kicking it off for us, Melanie saying hello, and a few others. Hi, Leah. Good to see you. So thanks, everyone. And we also have a question here. Is REFRAME is coming to Texas? Well, the good news is that REFRAME is not just going to be at one annual event, but Hector and I are actually going to bring what's called a US tour. And we are Texas is definitely on our wish list. It's probably top on our short list because we know that actually a lot of our reframers come from Texas. So we definitely want to give love to where love is given to us as well. So how to get CPEs? So here's kind of the way for you to get CPEs in order for you to get the full 2 hours for each day. What needs to happen is Hector is going to be sharing a poll periodically, and you must answer at least 6 of the 8 polling questions that will be shared with you spread out throughout the next 2 hours. Him and his administrative team, the CPE crediting bodies, will look at that and then send you your CPEs. And it will only be an issue of 2 hours of CPE for January 9th and 2 hours for January 10th. There is no such thing as a partial credit. And you will get an email within 10 days of the webinar. And if you have any questions, you can email Hector at qbkaccounting.com. If you do not get it by January 20th, Hector, would you add anything to that?
Only thing I add is my company called Advanced Webinars LLC will be the one granting the CPE. So it's me who's supervising it, and it's my company called Advanced Webinars LLC that will be issuing the CPEs officially.
Great. And then one last note, we get this question a lot, is will this be recorded? Could this be accessed later? And the answer is yes. Hector will be posting it on his YouTube video later this afternoon. Or if not, by tomorrow at latest. Obviously, we want to edit out everything to kind of keep it easy and efficient for you to be able to have access to all the great information that's going to be shared with you today. So with that, slides and resources, as mentioned just a minute ago, that this will be posted and available to you via email. We're going to send a recap email. If you had registered for this event, you will get a recap email with all the links, all the resources once everything has been updated, along with the contacts for all our software partners in case you did not get a chance to raise your hand and say, hey, I'm interested in a demo. I want more information. I want them to reach out to me. We're going to give you an opportunity to say, yes, I'm interested through our polling questions. And if you are, then that gives us the consent to provide that information to our partners, which then they will reach out to you and give you more information. But if not, after the fact, we'll give you an email so that you have an opportunity to raise your hand and say, I am interested in learning more about one particular software over the other. So quick recap. Yesterday, we went over a lot of tremendous resources and tools, starting off with Fishbowl, which walked us through inventory management solutions through QuickBooks. We had Kendrick, Casey, and team join us. Then we had Ramp, who is an AP and expense management solution, which then also shared with us a few ways for you to better manage those aspects of your business and how you can also be a referring partner for any small businesses that are looking for those kind of solutions. Followed by Keeper, which is a practice management for accounting and bookkeeping practices, sharing some new and exciting features that came out to better manage your entire practice. And then following to that, we had Anchor, which are proposal and engagement management for accounting firms, payables a fast way for you to get paid from your customers. So you should see a polling test that just came up. And if you see it, go ahead and click. If you see the poll, and that's just, we're just testing it. So make sure that the polling system works. Hector, just to validate, I do see it on my screen.
Yep.
And
Perfect.
if everybody else, everything works on that end?
Only thing I add, sometimes when the polls get closed, the second time the poll comes around, it's tucked into one of the Zoom tools. So when we're going to say the poll is up, just go into the Zoom tool somewhere. You may have to click somewhere to actually enable those polls. Because a lot of people in the middle, they say they can't see the poll, and we can't control that. This is a control. This is a system that you control.
Yeah. On your Zoom toolbar, you'll either see like a number 1 or like a little more button, and then that's where you'll see polls and quizzes. You click on that, and that should show up there. All right, great. So let me, anything else, Hector, we want to share before we move on to
I think we can jump. Yeah, I think we can jump straight to the presentation. One thing, Carlos, while I get into Enterprise Suite loaded in here, I am going to officially run the first polling question for our CPEs. So give me a second. See, now it's not showing on my screen, the poll option. Okay, let me see. All right, so here's the first polling question. And the polling question is, have you ever heard of Intuit Enterprise Suite? So the first polling question is up. If you don't see it pop up on your screen, that means you have to play with the Zoom tools, click somewhere to enable it, to open it, right? Don't put in the chat, I can't see the poll, because there's absolutely nothing we can do when you actually put, I can't see the poll. Like it actually, you literally have to play with the Zoom settings, click somewhere to make that polling question pop up. So the first question is, have you heard or have you looked at, have you seen Intuit Enterprise Suite? Do you have any clients on it? This is the software that we're about to showcase. And I'm going to switch over to my screen. Carlos, can you confirm that you can see my screen? Yep. So yes, okay. So I just need you to help me with the timekeeping, Carlos, because if I don't watch out, I'll take the whole 2 hours to do the Intuit Enterprise Suite demo.
Hector, I can't see your screen. Could you stop sharing and reshare just in case?
Let's try one more time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now you can see it? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. All right. The other thing is I'm going to end the poll right now. So the first polling question is up. I'm going to actually share the results. Notice that a huge percentage of you, 85%, haven't even heard of it, or it's just aware of its existence and haven't even seen it. So there's going to be a lot of reactions. And then so it will be awesome to kind of see live on the chat any reactions or questions that you have. And again, I have like 7 minutes to cover this. So let's start with what you're looking at is Intuit Enterprise Suite, which is basically copy and paste of QuickBooks Online. Someone over at Intuit grabbed and copy and pasted the code of QuickBooks Online, changed the logo, and then added a whole bunch of features that are framed as the ultimate solution for the mid-market client that has, quote, outgrown QuickBooks Online, or are in some other solution like Sage Intacct or NetSuite that is way too complicated, way too expensive, and it just makes it a tough time, for them to work as easy as they are used to working with QuickBooks Online. So essentially, all the components of QuickBooks Online, like collapsing and expanding the left navigation bar, the new button for new transactions. If you're a QuickBooks Online user, you're very much aware of this. The gear menu on the right-hand side, everything works the exact same way. Now, what's different and significant, the first thing that you're going to see is that the end user, we're not talking about accountants, the end user, it's going to have what they call in the QuickBooks Online accountants world, a client switcher. And the reason for that is because Intuit Enterprise Suite has been organized and packaged and sold mostly to solve right now for multi-entity companies. So you can switch from one company to the other. As you can see here, there are 2 entities that we're managing at the moment. Now that's just a drop-down menu, but there's a bigger, deeper advantage to this. Here under multi-entity, you're going to see a button for multi-entity. Again, you won't see this in QuickBooks Online. You only see this in Intuit Enterprise Suite. You're going to see a couple of options that you've never seen before, which is this concept of intercompany transactions. So you're going to click here, it says select intercompany accounts. And then in here, you can select, you can tell Intuit Enterprise Suite in a multi-entity setting, which are your due to and due from in each of the individual companies' chart of accounts. And the reason for this is so it can offset these in the consolidated report, so you don't have to see a positive number, a negative number, and then net it to zero. It knows that these two things are supposed to net out, so it saves you the step of having to reconcile the liability on one side and the asset on the other side. So that's sort of step one, which is pretty cool. Step two is creating what I'm calling a 3-dimensional journal entry, but Intuit is calling it intercompany journal entry. And the reason why I call it, I kind of think of like 3D chess. And what's different about these journal entries, and there's a little tag here on the top left that says you switch whether it's a regular journal entry or a intercompany journal entry, is that here you get to choose the company first. So you're going to say in Keystone Construction, I'm going to back out this shipping cost. Let's say I'm going to back out a shipping cost of $50,000. And then I'm going to put it in Keystone Construction. I'm going to put it in the due account, right? So due from Keystone Terra or due to Keystone Terra, whichever direction this is. So if it's an asset, it will be due from 50,000. And then in the same exact worksheet, I'm going to go in Keystone Terra and do the opposite side of the coin here, which I'll find the shipping account equivalent in Keystone Terra. In this case, happens to be the same account number because it's just the two chart of accounts are set up the same. But you can select a different account. So like I say, I want to offset my my shipping income, put there 50,000, and then come here, put Keystone Terra, and then do the due to, and then do the 50,000. Now, what makes this different than doing the manual journal entries is that traditionally you would have to go in one file, do your entry, and then switch to the other company file and do the other entry. So what this allows you to do is in a single transaction that is controlled and balanced, where you can see, you sort of get a worksheet where you can keep track of which are these balancing entries that you're doing for intercompany transactions. So we'll click on save, and then this automatically will go in there and create the transactions. Now, if there's a name missing, obviously you got to put the names here. And this goes into the individual chart of accounts in the individual customer name of each of the companies. Okay. So once those are saved, I'm gonna just cancel out of this for a second. So once those are saved, it generates the journal entry in both sides in both companies, and then you can run your consolidated report. So when we go into our consolidated reports, up here it says consolidated reports. I'm going to click on profit and loss. And then because these companies are connected, again, with Intuit Enterprise Suite, you get to see just like a P&L by class or P&L by location or P&L by customer, you get to see both companies here. And then there's a really cool last column called eliminations. And if you're familiar with intercompany transactions, sometimes there are non-posting eliminations that are just used for the purpose of the consolidated report, but you don't want it to affect the books. So for example, let's say I wanted to move some money from income to cost of goods sold or whatever. I would go back into my multi-entity. I would go here where it says create manual elimination. And again, it's just like a journal entry. It is absolutely just like a journal entry. And the manual elimination, I can go in there and I can grab a category. So let's say I'm going to grab some income category here. So let's cost of goods sold category, and then we'll take some sales category here, and then we'll go, 5,000 and 5,000, and we create the elimination. And the eliminations don't have to be balanced within each company. Eliminations can actually go across multiple companies because these are not posting transactions. These are not designed to balance with each company. They're designed to balance within the consolidated report. And these are non-posting. They only exist, it says right here, it won't post into QuickBooks. They only exist because the consolidated report exists. So once you save these, and then you go back and run your consolidated report. Let me just make sure I select maybe all dates or something like that. You get to see the elimination adjustments here. So it's, again, in whichever direction you need to be doing this is just really neat. Never ever we've had this type of power in QuickBooks Online. And there are third-party apps that do this sort of thing, but this is all built into Enterprise Suite. And this is just one of many, many, many features that it has. I'm going to quickly run by one just because this one just has to be mentioned. There's an option called dimensions. And what dimensions are, they are your original class on steroids. So you have your original class, let's call that's the original dimension. And then you get between 4 to 20 more. You actually pay for additional dimensions. And each of the company files can have their own custom dimensions that you build. Imagine just like a class. And what's really cool is, if you really have the type of client that wants to have really in-depth reporting, just imagine, in your sales report, just being able to not just add a class, but on every single line item, add some sort of detailed dimension that then you can run a P&L by dimension. You can run filter reports with cross-referencing, dimension A in one row, dimension B in the column, that sort of thing. You could really, really do powerful reports. And when it comes to consulting, like this is something that very excites me with larger companies that have 20, 30 plus employees, $5 to $10 million at least in revenue. This is the type of company that will look at this type of software. You can have tons of fun just really, really helping your clients build the custom reports of their dream. So that's really all I have for Intuit Enterprise Suite. I actually happen to be an Intuit reseller. So this is what I'm focusing on. The price is not public, so I couldn't even talk about pricing, even if I wanted to. But I'll give you anecdotally. I just had a client with about 7 entities. They needed like 6 or 7 dimensions. They needed about 30 something users. They were adding payroll, they were adding MailChimp, and the quote was about $18,000 a year. Okay, so $1,500 a month for the whole package. It's all packaged together. So again, it's gonna be, the pricing is gonna be 1-to-1. I'm gonna run a polling question number 2. And if you're interested in talking to any of the salespeople, you won't be talking to me, but you're talking to the salespeople from Intuit that focus on Intuit Enterprise Suite. You have a client, you have an opportunity. They can go deep into every feature, the comparison between this and QuickBooks Online Advanced, the comparison between this and QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise, the pricing. You have to talk to a salesperson. That's how they're managing that process. Okay, do we have, Carlos, who's the next presenter?
Actually, we have Frankie or Francisco from TaxDome.
Oh,
So
cool.
thank you, Francisco, for being here. We appreciate it. And if we can give him the power to share his screen, he's actually going to demo a TaxDome workflow for us.
He should be able to.
And as we transition to Frankie, Hector, you have a lot of great Q&A on QuickBooks Enterprise Suite and some in the chat. Maybe you can answer those behind the scenes while
I will do that.
Turn it over to him.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the opportunity to present today. I'm very excited to be here. Carlos, Hector, it's always a pleasure to speak with you guys, connect with your community. So thank you very much for this space. I'm actually going to be showcasing our tool. I'm here to represent TaxDome. Most of you guys probably know us, some of you might not. And we are very excited to connect with the community today. Now, I'm actually going to be sharing one of the most powerful tools that TaxDome has to offer. Now, as we approach tax season, right, we want to ensure that we elevate our service, and TaxDome wants to contribute to your client experience. Now, what's innovative about TaxDome and the way that we can contribute to your experience is we actually have a client portal. I want to showcase our client portal because within our client portal, I'm able to showcase a lot of our features. Going to do it as quickly as I can because we do have a lot of features to offer. Now, a very important aspect of TaxDome is we just don't offer you a portal. We offer your clients a secure portal. When your clients access their portal, this is exactly what they'll see. As you can see, my phone is unlocked, but it still asks for Face ID. It's very important to have some sort of security when it comes to our clients' data, especially because everything that's here should be protected. Now, your clients will have access to all of their accounts. So if your clients have multiple businesses, they'll have access to each and every single one of their accounts with one simple username. Now, something that we struggle with during tax season is how the information gets to us, right? Now, our mobile app is going to allow your clients to upload documents directly using TaxDome. However, something that we have is we also have a built-in scanner. So if your clients need to scan a document, this is how easy they can do it. And look what I'm scanning here. Now, once this is actually scanned, it will automatically convert into a PDF. So it not only ensures that we receive the information, but the quality of information will be there. This will automatically be scanned and it will automatically convert itself into a PDF. Now, TaxDome is one of the few that actually offers the portal in different languages. So if you have Spanish-speaking clients or clients that speak a different language, they will be able to see the portal in the language of their choice. Now, we provide smart organizers, and this will allow that all of the information gets to us and we're able to meet our deadlines and our expectations. Something to note about our organizers is they are pre-fillable. So if your clients filled out the organizer last year, they won't have to fill it out the next. Aside from that, they'll be able to upload documents directly into this organizer. So all of the information is going to be consolidated in one place. A lot of the times we have our information scrambled everywhere and we have to gather it. So this will ensure that everything is in one place and we don't struggle with consolidating our data. Now, also, the questions change based on the client's answers. So this is not a generic organizer. Your clients won't feel like they are doing the tax return on their own. It adapts to every single profile and will ensure that your clients feel well taken care of. Our organizers also follow up for you. So it will send automatic reminders to ensure that we're able to meet our deadlines on a reoccurrence of your choice. So you can, once you send the organizer, it will automatically send a reminder 2 or 3 days notifying the clients that have not filled the organizer that they have a pending organizer to fill out. And one of my favorite features personally is the capability of making questions mandatory. So you can actually ensure that organizers are filled out properly. If a client tries to fill out an organizer that's incomplete, it will mark in red and redirect them to the questions that are missing. So this will ensure that not only are the organizers turned in within our deadlines, but they are filled in properly, because we want to ensure that we eliminate any unnecessary communication. A lot of the times the information gets to us, but we have to follow up, letting our clients know that they're still missing some certain aspects that are mandatory in order for us to start the service. Now, there are many different features within our app, but I wanted to focus on how we get the information, how we can collect our documents. I wanted to keep it short, sweet, and simple within 15 minutes. But I'm actually going to be sharing my demo link within the chat. So if you guys are interested on a personalized demo, what we are known for is workflow automation, and I didn't even touch base on how we can contribute to automating each and every single one of your services. So if you guys are interested, I would love the opportunity to speak with you. Now is the time to ensure that we elevate the service that we provide to our clients. And with tools like this, I'm sure that your clients will have a lot of good things to say about you for the upcoming tax season, which will ensure that our business grows.
Hey, Francisco, by the way, we still got 10 minutes. So if you
really?
So yeah.
Yeah, Francisco.
Oh, well, I think I was going very fast.
Yeah. So can I add some context? So I'm a certified consultant for TaxDome. So which means that for those who don't leverage the traditional TaxDome route and want more in-depth implementation, I've gained a lot of insights in implementing a lot of firms. And Francisco, what you're demoing for everybody here is the client mobile app, would it be okay if you share the firm view when they log in through the cloud login? Because I think that's what the clients expect. Now, what would a firm owner expect if they were to jump in and manage a workflow and look at a pipeline? Could you maybe look some of that? Thank you.
Of course, yes. So, our bread and butter and what we are known for is pipelines. I like to joke with my clients. I like to tell them that a pipeline is just a fancy word for a service because essentially, what a pipeline will allow you to do is break down your service and everything that's required. I like to think of it like almost a journey, right? The journey that my clients intake from start to finish when onboarding onto any of the services that I have to offer. Now, for example, I have this pipeline here. I have my 1040 tax return pipeline. And as you can see, all of these step actions from start to finish are broken down. So these right here are clients. And what this will allow me to do, this is simply a visual representation. It will allow me to know exactly where my clients are at within my workflow. Now, not only that, within the job card, this is a client, by the way, I'm going to be able to see how long this client has been within this particular stage. So it will allow me to detect the clients that might need an additional follow-up. However, this is not how we contribute to your firm. The way that we contribute to your firm is with workflow automation. If you guys can see this little thunderbolt right here, this is a built-in command that the software is able to do completely on its own. Now, when my 400, 500, 1040 clients onboard this particular workflow, what the software will do is it will send them an email. It will send them a welcome email. As you can see, there are 2 emails here. Don't worry, I'm not sending 2 emails, but as you can see, it sends a different email to my new clients and a different email to my returning clients. So I want to ensure that my communication is not generic, that what I send adapts to each and every single type of my clients. Now, aside from it sending the welcome emails, it will also send a tax return engagement letter. Now, a benefit that TaxDome offers is unlimited electronic signatures as well. So your clients will be able to sign directly through their portal. Now, once the clients sign the engagement letter, the software will automatically transition the client to the next stage. Now, within my next stage, I have a different set of automations. Now, I have a tax organizer that I'm sending out to the clients in order to gather and consolidate all of the information. Alongside this organizer, I'm sending instructions on how to complete the organizer. You guys saw how easy it is to fill out the organizer. Honestly, there are no instructions needed, but we have some clients that need a little bit more hand-holding, and that's okay. We want to ensure that they receive the attention that they require. Now, once the client fills out the organizer and the software is able to determine that it was filled out properly, the software will automatically transition the client to the next stage, where it will assign a preparer or notify the preparer that's assigned to this client that they have followed through with all previous step actions that I require in order to start the service. So you guys got the big picture, right? As of the first 3 stages, we did not do a single thing. The software sent the welcome email, sent the contract so that they can agree to all of my terms and conditions, sent the organizers alongside the instructions, any pending reminders to the clients that did not fill out the organizer, and prior notified me that the client had followed through with all of the things that I require in order to start with the service. And this we can do for each and every single one of the services that you offer. There are many other commands, many different automations. This is not just for tax. If you offer bookkeeping, payroll, whatever service you offer within your firm, we are able to automate it. Some of our clients use pipelines for prospecting, for marketing. Essentially, it's a process. So we can automate each and every single one of the services that you have to offer. And this is how we can contribute to your firm. So I wanted to showcase the mobile app to ensure how we can contribute to your client experience. Now, this is how we can contribute to you as an accountant.
Hey, Frankie, I want to add a couple of comments. Phenomenal job. Thank you so much. So Couple of things. I know Hector will probably add. First, Hector and I are launching a 2025 TaxDome update video, which is going to be more in depth, more thorough for people to kind of learn more about the features and the new things that are coming 2025, which I know you haven't mentioned, but we can announce that by mid-year, it's going to have GL integration. So for the bookkeepers who want to be able to categorize transactions, we'll be able to integrate back to QuickBooks and see those transactions. That's a very exciting feature that's coming. The other thing I will say is having implemented over 50 firms and having seen the mindset transformation of from overwhelmed to just feeling so relieved because it's a lot of upfront work trying to learn a new software. And this goes for any of our partners. Learning a new software can be overwhelming, but when you put in the upfront investment, the payoff is tremendous because it saves you so much time. You're automating the beginning. Like the organizer won't be sent until they sign the letter. The task of prepping the tax return won't be assigned to you until the client has finished the organizer. So being able to have the control of knowing where everybody's at definitely brings a lot of clarity and less confusion to controlling and having a better, bird's eye view of what's happening in your firm. So one of my favorite things about it. And Hector, I'm not sure if you want to add a comment on that.
Well, I want to take you back to why we implemented TaxDome in the first place. So in 2019, our tax practice, one thing that we were tired of really was dealing with so many clients that we have over the years have accustomed to, we do the tax return, they pay us later type of stuff. And it was becoming really awkward after, 10, 12 years of doing the tax returns to make the switch to we have to get paid up front prior to doing that. So when I sought after to look for a new practice management system, we were using Monday.com. We were using a very highly customized version of Monday.com earlier, which is pretty good. I mean, I nothing negative to say about it, but we didn't have that capability. So we discovered, and this is kind of by accident, by searching through all the different features, that in TaxDome, and Francisco, maybe you can open that really quick and kind of like showcase this. You can generate an invoice for a customer, and then you link the invoice to the tax return, and then you create basically a gate where if the invoice is not paid, the customer can't see the tax return. And what we were looking for is really to avoid the uncomfortable conversation to tell the client, I can't send, even though I finished the return, because we do things as they come in. We don't, our employees don't stop to see if the customer has paid, have they paid a deposit. That was just like it used to slow us down a lot. We were just saying, look, if the documents are in and we've done the return before, just do it. So what we did was just create the invoice, connect it to the document, to the return. And then what happens when the client logs in and tries to view the return, it says, whoops, you got to pay the invoice first. And they will call us and say, hey, we can't view the tax return, and have to say, you got to pay the invoice. It's like, well, it's never worked like that before. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's out of my control. That's the system that we have now. It's the system, right? So like for me, it just made it very easy to just blame the system, to say, you got to pay before you view the tax return. So, which is cool because the return is done, right? So it just makes people feel that the job is complete. So it puts a little bit more pressure on them. But then it shows an actual system that requires the payment first. So to me, that was like, that's the reason I went to TaxDome. I didn't care about any of the other features. Then later on, the workflow automation, all that stuff, became the reason why we loved it. But I just wanted to let you know, like, what led me to get TaxDome in the first place. It was that feature that I don't think any other practice management softwares have adopted.
Yes, I'm showcasing it right here, actually. You can send the document to the client. The client is going to see that it's there, but once they try to access it, it will show that it's logged to an invoice. And in order to unlock the document, they simply have to pay, and it will trigger them to add their payment information as well. Now, something else that we have touching base on payments is we have reoccurring invoices and automatic payments. So if you have clients that you bill on a reoccurring basis, the software not only will collect the money for you, but it will also invoice the client. So there are many tools, many different features. Hector, honestly, this is also one of my favorites because it almost streamlines the payment and makes sure that we get paid faster as well, which is very important. We don't want to have any additional follow-ups if we don't have to. And just having a paywall ensures that they want to have access to the document, they just have to pay. So
Awesome.
yes, with this, I just want to take a quick moment, guys, to thank you both, Hector and Carlos. Honestly, I travel to most of the events, and some clients have approached me and they say, "Hey, we signed up because of Carlos and Hector. We know you guys because of Carlos and Hector," and just the amount and the community that you guys have is a wonderful community. So it's always a pleasure to have this opportunity in this space. So thank you guys so much. And I will be sharing my demo link within the chat if you guys want to book a more in-depth demo that's tailored to your firm's wants and needs. I would love the opportunity to speak with you guys.
Yep.
I've already saw that some of you started booking the demos already, so thank you so much for that. Can't wait to speak with you. And again, thank you guys very much. Really
Thanks for being
appreciate
here,
it.
Frankie.
Awesome. Yeah. One thing I'll add really quick is, like, a lot of accountants get stuck with, oh, it's already January 10th. So like, I'm done. I can't look at new software because it's already tax season. If you don't have a practice management system, and I'm not even advocating for TaxDome. If you don't have any practice management system, today is always the best day. It doesn't matter where you are you need a practice management system, because it makes you a much different consultant. It makes you look bigger as a firm. It allows you to keep track where everything is. The fact that this has a web version, a phone version, it's great. So polling question number 4 is up, by the way, and you can answer your question there. And then Francisco, I'm also going to send you about 30 something people that requested, said yes, send me information via email. I'm going to send you those emails so you can follow up with them too. All right.
And I wrote down something in the chat for you guys. This is just because of Carlos and Hector. So thank you guys so much. Enjoyed speaking with you both and your community, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day.
Take care.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. I'll end that polling question now. Francisco, you can turn off your webcam. And okay, so we are almost done with the first hour. And just a quick reminder, at 1 p.m. Actually, at around 12:55, right? At 12:55, 1 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna have a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and do the other 3 demos that are coming up. Okay, Carlos, you can see my screen. QuickBooks Online. All right. So Mark couldn't make it. Mark is the developer of RightTool, but I will be doing the presentation in RightTool's behalf. So first of all, I'm going to run a quick polling question. And I don't have access to the polling question. Yes, I do. All right. So we're going to have a polling question really quick. And this question is just to find out how many of you already use this software, right? Because I want to see how many of you are looking at this for the first time, how many of you already use it, how many don't even use QuickBooks Online at all and are just going to be cruising through this last 15 minutes. So do you use RightTool for QuickBooks Online? And like Barbara said, Barbara, thank you. So if you do think it's your favorite app, put it in the chat so other people can see that we have a really strong community of power users that love RightTool. So yeah, so the polling question number 5 is up, and this will be the last, the second to last polling question. We'll drop one last polling question during the break, and then we'll get right on it. So we try to make sure that we have the polling question up for at least a minute. So polling question number 5 is up. If you're here for CPEs, make sure you answer the polling question. Notice that option 3 is not yet, because every single one of you, after watching this demo that haven't used it, are going to use RightTool. Trust me, I don't say that lightly. And quick disclosure, I am an investor in RightTool. A lot of these things I designed or I suggested, and I'm part of the RightTool community, the Facebook community as well. Okay, we'll close that polling question. Beautiful. All right. So let's start with what RightTool is. RightTool is a right navigation bar for QuickBooks Online. It only works while QuickBooks Online is open. It is an alternative to the left navigation bar. I've always found that left navigation bar to be a little bit clunky and a little bit useless for a power user's perspective. So by having everything on the right, well, first of all, it has you looking right, which is one of the hardest things for people to get sort of accustomed to looking right because they're so accustomed to looking left, right? So I'll probably say that's the hardest thing to get people used to it. But the nice thing is the new button is here, the gear menu is here, the search box is, and it's all within a very tight area of real estate. That way you don't have to go, okay, I got to go to the left to go to new, and then I got to go to the right to go to gear, and then I got to go somewhere in the center to do a search. Everything is in one place. Now, the good news is that the vast majority of features, well, actually all the features I'm showing now are part of the free version. You can get RightTool 100% for free and have access to all these tools that I'm showing. The next thing you're going to see is you're going to see a favorites bar. By default, you're going to have 10 favorites that we loaded in there. Those favorites are accessible with Control Alt and that number. So Control Alt 7 will open the reconcile, Control Alt 6 will open account and home, Control Alt 5 will open journal entry. Like that's literally what the numbers are for. Now you could also click and drag this and put them in any position that you want. So if you actually have a different preference in terms of what the order you want, you can put them there. And again, 1 to 10 is Control Alt and the number on your keyboard. Now there's a little settings button here that allows you to turn on and off all the tools that you want to have with RightTool. RightTool has over 100 features that you can toggle on and off. I'm still talking about the free features, by the way. You're looking at the free features. So for example, to enable the keyboard shortcuts, you click on here, and now you have the keyboard shortcuts enabled. Now here in the settings button, there's a little that little eye icon. That eye icon, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. The eye icon it allows you to see a video to see exactly what that feature does. So every single featurette that RightTool has, and like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 categories that have at least 8 to 10 features each. So we're over 100 features. But once you turn a feature on, you can then click here, and then you can watch a video that walks you through how that specific feature works, why that matters, et cetera, et cetera. There's a link here for keyboard shortcuts that lets you know which keyboard shortcuts get activated with RightTool. So for example, by default in QuickBooks, if you hit Control Alt I, it opens an invoice. So you don't need RightTool for that. But there's a lot of other things that you can't access because QuickBooks doesn't give you access, keyboard shortcut access. We have eventually mapped the entire keyboard. So every single key that QuickBooks or the Chrome browser doesn't have already mapped, we mapped it to something. So for example, you want to go to transaction history, you hit Control Alt H on every transaction and it opens up the history, which is kind of like the audit log. If you want to go to a bill, you do Control Alt B. If you want to go to timesheet, Control Alt T, etc. So that's kind of the point, is that you use the combination of these things to get you straight into that screen. Okay. All right. So this is all available in the free version. Okay. The other things that you get to see here is on the all shortcuts, you actually have a menu of every single one of the features that you can access directly through a URL. So if there's something you can't access through here already, let's say, for example, one of these things you can't access through here, like adding a new vendor, you can't access through the left navigation bar. So what you can do is you click a little star there, and then it becomes part of favorites. And then when you click on that, it takes you to the screen where you can add a new vendor immediately. So that's really what the point is that you go out and you explore every single feature that QuickBooks has that can be accessed directly. For example, the report center or custom reports or cash flow planner or whatever, or you can click on all reports, and then you have the entire database of all the QuickBooks reports that are available, that can be accessed via a direct link. And then you put a little star next to it, check detail or whatever, or open purchase order detail, you put a star next to it. When you go back into favorites, they are now as part of your favorites. And if it's something that you access a lot, you click and drag, put it on the top, and then with your Control Alt combination keyboard, you can get straight to that, or you can click on that and get into that particular report or link that you wanted to get to. Okay, so that's the power of RightTool, and that's all. This is all still the free edition. Okay, so all still the free edition. You can get to custom reports too. So for example, if you want to go into reports, and then there's a particular custom report that you get to. So let's say this one, AP, all sales with detail lines or whatever. So as long as you access the report or the screen, there is going to be a custom URL in the top. You click up here where it says add custom, and you add custom, and you can add any custom URL that you want. Click on save, and now it gets added into your favorite. So now, you know, really quick, I can access whatever I want. It also was also really, so it's a combination of improving your QuickBooks navigation, and also all your navigation tools are within a browser. Like, our goal was really to exploit everything the browser can offer to add additional things. Here on the, and again, I'm just showing you the free edition. This is the free edition of RightTool, okay? So the search box also works. So if I put 500 and press enter, it opens a new tab and it goes straight into the search screen, and it searches all transactions for $500 for me. The other thing that's really neat is I'm going to click on the settings. I'm going to go into classic reports, and I'm going to turn on our, where's my tab management? Sorry, I'm going to go into tab management. I'm going to turn on the reports enhanced drill down. This is probably one of everybody's favorite tools. Is when you're looking at a report, for example, a profit and loss report. I'm going to close the tabs here, so just so you can kind of focus on the top. There's only one tab open. So I go in the top, and then I can click on any of these things to drill down, and it opens it in a new tab. And this is a huge time saver, because QuickBooks gets really quirky when you drill down on a report, and then it goes back and refreshes and that sort of thing. So it opens in a new tab. So it's really cool, as you can go in there, you can dig one more time, and not lose the place on your original report. Okay, that's the point here, that, you know, maybe you were somewhere in the P&L and you don't want it to refresh and get you back to the top, and that sort of thing. So that's all available in the free edition of RightTool. Now, I'm gonna the Pro edition, which is $75 a month, $75 a month for the first user, and if you're a firm, every additional user is $25 a month. So $75 for the first user, $25 for every additional user. It's not per company. So it works across all of your clients. So you can have one client, you can have 100 clients. It really doesn't matter. We actually don't literally connect to QuickBooks Online. We just sit on the browser. These are just hovering over the browser, helping you do things. But one of the most impactful ones that we have is batch delete and batch edit in the register. Like, these two features are what most people say, you know what, this is what saves me, you know, thousands of dollars a month in wasted time of me having to do manual cleanup inside QuickBooks. So I'm turning on batch edit in the register and batch delete in the register. And then I'm going to go back into QuickBooks Online, and then I'm going to go into a register. Okay, so give me 1 second. And this will be the last demo we'll do before we transition to the break. So I'm in the register, and I'm just going to collapse here for a second. And sometimes I want to do things like, just want to get rid of transactions. I want to go into the filters and grab all the transactions, for example, that haven't been reconciled. This happens quite a bit after we reconcile the banks. You know, we have a gazillion transactions sitting in there, and we have to go into one by one and delete. You can come in here, you filter whatever not reconciled, click on batch, select one, go down a group, maybe hold the shift key. We actually enabled shift click, hold the shift key, grabs a whole bunch up front. And let's say you just want to delete all those, click on delete, click OK, and just relax, drink your coffee, and watch the thing go boom, 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 delete all the transactions for you. For example, let's say that I use the wrong payee, the wrong vendor name, the wrong customer name, or whatever. I go to batch, and then I click on edit, okay? And then I tell it what I want to modify. So I say I want to add the payee, and I also want to append a memo to just sort of like notate that I just edited the payee during the January 10th closing session or whatever. Or maybe I used the wrong year on a transaction or something like that. So you select from here, from this menu, what is it that you want to change, and you click on close, and then you grab the transactions that you want to change. So I say I want to grab all these transactions here, and for all these transactions in group, let's say I'm gonna filter. Let's do just expenses, which are a little bit more typical for these type of things. It will make a lot more sense with expenses, because that's the place where we have to change payees a lot. So I'm going to click on batch, click on edit. I'm going to grab these things. I'm going to select all these transactions here, so all these transactions, and I'm going to change the date to 2025. I'm going to put the payee. I'm going to put this payee called 711, or let's grab a different one. Let's grab a different payee that looks more like a payee. Let's grab right there. And let's say on the memo, I want to append changed during 1/10/25 review or something like that. And then I click on confirm batch, and it will grab every transaction, change the payee for me, change the year of the transaction, and add the additional memo to it. I mean, like, I don't think there's any tools in the market like this. And like this, there's 50 other pro tools that are designed to help you just really clean up your QuickBooks, organize things in batch. I'm going to stop sharing, Carlos, and I'll give you the power to share at this moment.
Okay, great. Awesome. And Hector, there's a Q&A that will be answered during the break. Hector will take his time to answer that for you, and then he'll throw a little poll at you shortly if you have more questions or inquiring about RightTool. But right before we go break, well, first, thanks for our AM partners that presented, Enterprise, for Intuit, TaxDome, and RightTool. We're super grateful for those awesome features that are available. Real quick, if we're part of a bigger community and a bigger mission, which is to rebrand the accounting profession, and we do that by being the most innovative and forward-looking of all in the industry. And we want to lead the way by doing these kind of events, like a tech showcase, our REFRAME event. We have plenty of other opportunities for you to get involved in our community. And so there are 3 ways that you can become a REFRAMer. One is we actually partnered with the author of the book, Exactly What to Say. His name is Phil M. Jones. And this is a REFRAME edition book that actually gives you it's a communications handbook of how to be a better communicator as an accounting professional when it comes to influencing and communicating your value and your intention to your customers. This is only available through us. Okay. There is a standard version. It's like $10 on Amazon, but this custom edition, Hector, myself, and the author got together to identify the key phrases and the key examples that show up in your day-to-day life and world and business, where if you communicate more effectively, you will have better relationships, better outcomes. And so if you are interested in that, you can actually have access to our implementation manual, which actually comes with some role play cards that allow you to practice using the right language and the right phrases, some key phrases that are called magic words. So that's one way for you to be connected with REFRAME. Second way, if you want to come to REFRAME and meet us in person and learn at a deeper level how to elevate your skill set, is we're going to be focusing on how to price as a professional, but with confidence. So having the tools, the resources, the knowledge, and the confidence, the skill set to know how to communicate that effectively and position your firm to be meaningfully different from the competition, so that your existing and new potential customers see you as that practitioner, that advisor, not just a number cruncher, not just another vendor. And that's taking place in Coral Gables in November this year, in Miami, Florida. And if you're interested, the hyperlink will be shared with you as well. And then lastly, Hector and I do have a community. It's a coaching community that's online that allows you to have access to us year round, where we'll be teaching you lessons, all things how to become a elite practitioner in your world. And so if you're interested in learning any of this or becoming part of our monthly coaching community, which has a monthly learning session, we go 90 minutes deep into specific topics like pricing, mindset, positioning, negotiation, sales, marketing. I've put a link there if you want to schedule a discovery call, you want to learn about that community, or just learn about anything at all. Learn about the conference that we have later this year, learn about the Exactly What to Say book. Schedule a call. It'll be personally scheduled with me. We'll be happy to meet you and learn more about you. So that's our little 30-second commercial on REFRAME if you want to just become part of our community. So with that, we're going to have a 10-minute break, and we're going to be coming back at 10 after the hour. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is 1:10 p.m. here Eastern time, and we're going to go ahead and now hand it off and introduce our partners from Makers Hub. Hi, Ted. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing? I'm trying to get my video. There we go. My video is up and running. I'm great. Carlos, how are you?
Great to have you. Thank you so much. I'm going to just double check if Hector's back with us so that he can make sure he's running the polls and looking good on his end. But if you want, Ted, while we get Hector to come back, please give us an introduction of what MakersHub is, and feel free to share your screen and share what you got for us today.
Yeah, you bet. Let me get my screen going. See if you guys can see my PowerPoint right there. I'm not going to get all crazy on the PowerPoint slides. I only have 3 for you all. I also want to say to everyone that's attending here, the REFRAME 2024 that I attended as a vendor, but just as an individual learner, it was the very best show that I went to the whole year, and I go to a lot of shows. So I want to give props to your whole team. It was fantastic. I just have to say that because I'm still the book that you guys that we did, the what to say. My wife read it, my kids read it. I mean, it was awesome. Exactly what, yeah. So I mean, it was just fantastic. So beyond, I had to take up 30 seconds of my own time to thank you guys.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
So, hey all, this is me here, Ted McRae. I hate to say it, but like 3 decades of experience in the accounting world. And I first started out at like ADP Paychecks, and then went over to this small, tiny little company that you probably heard of called Intuit. Was a recycled employee at Intuit for over 8 years, made my way to an even smaller company, it was at the time, and that is Xero. And I was employee number 15 at Xero US, and I made my way over here to MakersHub, and this is what we're going to be talking about today. So if you haven't heard of MakersHub, we are an AP automation, data-enriched AP automations product. These are the things on here that we're going to be talking about today in the short time that I have. It's our Wise Vision technology, and this is what really makes us different. Our Wise Vision technology scans every single item on your bill/invoice, indexes it, uses artificial intelligence to figure out what that information is, and then what we can do with that information in our rules-driven routing. And there's 2 different ways that we do that with the routing. One is through how do we route the individual line items to your QuickBooks Desktop, Enterprise, or QuickBooks Online. And then how do we use that data also to route that for your approval workflows, right? So we can route data on more than just dollar amounts. We can route it based on vendor, based on description, POs, all sorts of things like that. Then we're going to talk about quickly just the 2-way integration. We have a deep integration with QuickBooks. And then how all of this data can really route into the embedded payments that we already have, and how we can help protect you from fraud and things of that nature. So let's get into it. No pun intended, but so this is when you first log into MakersHub, this is the dashboard that you see that gives you all of your receipt and bill summary, right? All the bills that have been sent to you either through email or ones that you've uploaded yourself. You have your receipts to review, your bills to pay, and your bill summary. So we're going to go in and we're going to review the bills that are sitting in here waiting for us. The first one we're going to do is this BELIMO error controls, okay? So in BELIMO error controls, on the left-hand side of the screen is the actual copy of the bill/invoice. And on the right-hand part of the screen is all the information that MakersHub has extracted for you. So everything down to like easy stuff like vendor information, invoice number, dates, terms, and PO numbers, right? And we specifically do PO numbers because we take your PO from QuickBooks, any version of QuickBooks, and we can bring those over into MakersHub and tie that information together. So we can pull up if it's a PO we can pull that information up and then bring it over into the bill here and match those items. So then we can close the invoice out in QuickBooks. But let's get specifically into the information that's pulled out. So we have all of the line item information from this crazy bill. If you take a look at this bill, right? It's pretty crazy. But we've been able to splice and index everything that comes out of this bill. And why is that? It's because the way that we scan is different than traditional legacy OCR. Legacy OCR is looking for specific items before it even starts scanning. With MakersHub, we scan everything, and then we use a large language model, a proprietary model, to determine what that information is, and then put it onto the screen for you to see. So things like SKU numbers, description, quantities, prices, all that information is here for you. Now, the other thing that we do extraordinarily well is if something is either not scanned correctly or you want to use something else entirely different, we give you the ability to train the system when it either gets it wrong or you want to do something different. And I will use this as an example. So your customer PO number, let's pretend for this instance that you've told your vendor time and time again that you do not use this 23 dash as your PO number. You use project name as your PO number, but for whatever reason, they can't do it on their side. That's fine. We're just going to train the MakersHub system to look for project name and use this as our PO. So here's how we do it. I'm going to go over to the PO side. I'm going to click this little magnifying glass, and I'm just going to search for project name. And so what I've done is I've just trained the system that anytime an invoice from Belimo comes in, to automatically code it to the project name instead of PO number. So there's other things on here, like on this invoice. It's a very confusing invoice, and it also the total of the line items don't add up to the sum of the invoice. And why is that? It's because there's an order value discount on here that's shown nowhere on the invoice. So we've said, hey, the balance doesn't match. Well, this just happens to be the same balance of this 509 is the exact discount. So I can add this adjustment line, and I can say like order value discount. Oops. And so now I have my order value discount of 509. I could, if I'd like to, spread this amongst the line items. So I've just created a training here. I'm going to spread it amongst the line items. And so now I have my true cost of goods, and all I have to do now is approve this. So this is how simple it is. And now the next time I do it, and I'll show it to you here, the next time I do this, it's going to remember what I've done. And we'll do it with this one here. We've missed, for whatever reason, the surcharge on here. Now, normally in a legacy AP product, you would have to go in and every single time add that in. In ours, we train it again by telling it to find surcharge. And now it's trained. And just like bank rules, I can go into integrations and I can say, hey, by the way, anytime something comes in with the description surcharge, automatically code that to the surcharge and convenience fees in my QuickBooks. So this is one of the mappings that I was talking about. And I'm going to update settings. And as you see here, I've trained the system. So when the next one comes in from Glass and Mirrorcraft, it already has my surcharge. It's already been trained to look for surcharge on the invoice, as well as code that to my surcharge and convenience fees. So all that needs to be done is basically approve it. So the next thing we're going to talk about before we get into accounts payable is that second pillar on what we said we do, and that's the routing. So I showed you kind of the routing that I did in the integration mapping, but let's look at the awesome approval workflows that we can do as well. Because we extract all this data, we can do approval workflows that are more than just on dollar amount. So if you take a look at this bill settings and approval workflows, I have total amount over $0 goes to the AP department. Total amount 5,000 goes first to Diana, then to Ryan. And then I can do by class, by vendor name. If it's an expense, if I added another one, I can do by item description, PO number, all sorts of other things within here that make our routing for approval workflows just absolutely amazing. And we do not charge for users. So in each account, you can have as many users as you'd like. And then the next thing we do is we take it up another step for fraud protection is we allow you to set up approval workflows for your actual payments as well. So those are some of the things that make us extremely different than some of the other workflows or AP products is the ability to extract all your data, the ability to handle some complex workflows. And then the last thing we'll talk about, and I'm checking my time here, it looks like I got maybe a few seconds, is our ability to pay. Now, these are some of the our payments that we have waiting for us, and I'm just going to click them all. I'm going to schedule payments. I have a verified W-9. We have W-9 management in here. But here's because we have an intelligent system, we can take a look at your terms and actually do something with them. So if you take a look at this, I have my rush code. If I pay this by the 14th, I can apply $172 net term discount to this one and to this one from Glass and Mirror Craft. And that's only because I only have one. If I would have paid this one by the 9th, is that yesterday or whatever, or today, I guess, I could have actually taken that net term discount on that one, but I'm not allowed to. So now I can schedule my payments. And as soon as I schedule my payments, they're gone from here and in waiting for payments or waiting for whomever needs to approve if there is an approval workflow set up for them. The very last thing is the archive. This will show all of the payments that are paid through that have been paid either through MakersHub, QuickBooks, or marked as paid. But here's the benefit of this. If they're paid through MakersHub, we have the ability for like vendor disputes or fraud or anything like that to have you go in and see exactly what's happened with this check, a copy of the check that was actually produced, the front image of the check that was deposited, and then the back image of the check that was endorsed as well. So any vendor disputes, I can just print this off to them and say, no, here's all the information. We're actually going through this with one of our vendors right now. And we can do the same for ACH. So Mr. Carlos and Hector, I don't know if there were any questions while I was doing that because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, there are some.
I know these are fast little demos, but
yeah. So first of all, thank you very much. I know it's so difficult to cover so much stuff in so little time. So thank you for doing that. I'm going to run a quick polling question here. So if anybody is interested in getting more information about MakersHub or getting a personal demo, go ahead and put yes in that polling question so Ted can reach out to you and the MakersHub team. I want to give just a couple of notes before we jump into the next presenter, ADP. So I stumbled upon MakersHub. It is before ChatGPT came out. So like artificial intelligence was a concept that I wasn't really like processing too much, and when MakersHub came out and they actually reached out to me, this was like maybe like 3 years ago. And they said, Hector, we want to get your feedback on the software. I'm like, I don't really do that. I don't have time for that. And they're like, well, your email says that that you charge for a consultation. We'll pay for your consultation. I'm like, okay, I do that. So they paid my fee and they sat there and they presented the software and I was just completely blown away. I have not seen a system that gives the user so much power to control the moving parts. And like to me, and again, I might not be the average user. Most users just wanna like scan the document and pray it gets done right. But in my experience, I've always been so apprehensive of AI scanning AP management systems where they always get the wrong vendor, they get the wrong amount, they get the wrong date. And I understand, I am intimately aware of how hard this is to work and how skeptical people are that this works. And the reality is doesn't work because it's magical. It works because it gives you the ability to make it work. So there is a process where you're going to scan a new vendor bill that you've never scanned before. MakersHub will get it 90% right. And you got to put the part in. You got to go in there. You got to create the rule. You got to do the mapping. You got to say this line is this line. When the bill says customer ABC, it really means customer, XYZ in my system. And you have to map it. You have to teach it what it is. But what happens is, and it's happened with a lot of my clients, after 2 or 3 months of actually doing the hard work, you start putting these common bills in there, and it comes into QuickBooks with the specific line items. And that to me was just so mind-blowing, because I never expected an app to be that good. So that's the only thing I'll add. I'm going to close the polling question. Ted, you have like 40 some, a few people here that want to get more information. So I'll send you that information so you can reach out to them. And I'm going to switch over to ADP. Last words?
Hector, Carlos, thank you so much. Everyone else, thank you a ton.
Perfect. All right. So Lily, you want to, there you go. Hi, Lily. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
All right. Share your screen. So we have Lily from ADP. And finally, we're going to have someone from ADP actually show the ADP system instead of just talking about it through slides. So I like that very much. Can you share your screen, Lily?
Yep, absolutely. All right, I have it up, so make sure you guys can see it.
We're good to go. So go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. So this is our Accountant Connect platform, and this is a software that was designed by accountants for accountants. So every year we have people that fly up to our headquarters and they talk through what they want to see on the platform, what they don't want to see. So this is really tailored to our tax professionals and like how we can best suit them when it comes to any of their clients, and also being more consultative. I know that's a big thing that's going on in the industry, is just trying to have that competitive edge. So this is free. Everyone's able to make their own login, so you can register multiple people in one firm. This is the homepage. So this is where all of your clients with ADP will be. So you'll have access to their report and tax forms, their general ledger. You also have the ability to run their payroll through ADP. So this is all going to be on the homepage for you. On the bottom, you even have access to LifeMart. It's something that we have at ADP where you can go in and get discounted rates on like movie tickets, flights, rental cars, a bunch of different stuff like that. There's also a couple of discounts on other softwares that we offer. So whether it's Biz Equity, BotKeeper, our marketing material through CountingWorks, you have access to that as well. Again, all your clients will be in this tab for you, but something that our partners really love is going to be the report and tax form. So any of your clients that are using ADP today, whether they're on our Run software, they're on our Workforce Now technology, or if they're on like our PEO with Total Source, they can go in here and they can pull a one-time report, or they can set up batch reporting. So let's say you have clients that are using ADP's Run software. You can select the clients that you want to pull the reports for. You can go in and select which report you're looking for, whether it's a payroll summary, payroll detail, maybe their 941s or their quarterly filings. And then once you click on those, you have the ability to download this not only as a PDF, but also an Excel form. So it's great if you're looking to manipulate the data. From there, you can either select just to have it as a one-time report that you're trying to pull, or you can do it reoccurring. So maybe you want to have each quarter, each month, you want specific reports to be pulled for your clients. You're able to set that frequency. And then once you do that, they'll pop up on that dashboard for you. So you can just quickly go in and grab those at any time. Looking into our analysis tools. So when you have your clients with ADP, you're able to see what's going on live time with their accounts. So this is an ability for you to go and see if maybe they hire an employee with an out-of-state jurisdiction. This gives you the ability to now have a conversation with your client around if they're in a state that requires retirement, if they are in a state that requires workers' comp, do they need their tax IDs? From there, you're now able to assist that client, and the clients can even set up their tax IDs through ADP. A second part to this is that maybe if they're struggling with turnover, or maybe you see that they're rapidly growing, now it's that kind of conversation to be a little bit more consultative and see, is this a good client that maybe would be a good fit to get into health benefits? Or they're having a struggling time with turnover, maybe they need to increase their pay, or maybe they need to add on retirement, whatever that looks like. In the client analytics tools, this will be able to give you an example of the companies you have, and you'll be able to look and see data around their workforce. So it'll show you all of your clients, and it'll go through turnover, their headcount, average age, termination, tenure, just to be able to see a little bit deeper into your clients' payroll and their business. And then this is compensation benchmarking, which a lot of our partners really love. With ADP, we pay 1 in 5 Americans. So we have a ton of data around the industries that we work with, what type of revenue size they are, how many employees are in their business. And this is a great way for you to be able to use this tool and go in, and maybe a client comes to you and they're saying, hey, we want to hire a new manager. How much should we be paying them? This is where you can use that data and really dive in down to a local scale and see what other competitors in their industry, in their employee size, and their revenue size are also offering to be competitive. In the industry insights, very similar. This will just kind of give a breakdown of not only is them as a client, but then stack ranking them against their industry or people that are in their area to see what other businesses are doing. So that way you can help them have a competitive edge when it comes to benefits, even span of control if they're looking to have like a new management team. And then for anyone that's looking to either learn more about the industries that they actively work with, or even if you're trying to tap into a new industry, there are vertical IQ reports that are complimentary, and you can go in and you can view things such as just more information around the industry, how the business is structured, what their challenges are, how the industry is changing, and just learn a little bit deeper around industries that you either work with or maybe are looking to tap into. And then we also have business valuations through Biz Equity. So if you have clients that are looking to maybe evaluate selling their business, the first one is complimentary to our partners, but then after that, you do get a discount. So if you ever have clients that want to come to you and see how much their business would be worth, maybe they're looking to sell or merge, this is where you can use that Biz Equity software. And then this is our advisory opportunities. So this will put all of your clients right here for you, and you'll be able to see a couple of different things. So you'll be able to see what they're actively using with ADP. You'll be able to get a little light bulb if it's something that they might be a good fit for, whether, let's say, for example, for Anderson Furnishings, if they have a lot of hourly employees, it'll flag this little light bulb for you and say, hey, this might be a good client to use ADP's time and attendance system. Or it'll give you this little hazard, and that will show you that they're out of compliance for that. And then you can send a direct email to the client, or you can send it directly to your ADP partner, and they can reach out to that client and make sure that we can get them in compliance for that. And then this will just show you any ones that you've sent, anything that's been dismissed. So that's just a little overview of how you can kind of help capture with your clients other services that they can use with ADP, what they're currently using, or things that might be recommended or required for them. And then this is a bunch of different calculators that you also have access to. So whether you're trying to do a gross up or you want to be able to calculate how much a 401k contribution should be for one of the employees, all of these are in here for you. This is just a bit more about ADP software. So if you're looking into other services that we offer, you can read more up on those. ADP Marketplace, we work with a ton of different vendors. So if you're looking to have them integrate something, maybe they use a time system that they really enjoy, or maybe they're a restaurant, or maybe they use a specific software, we integrate with a ton. So this is where you can learn more about that. The next thing is going to be resources. So again, we work with CountingWorks Pro. You're able to go in and make co-branded marketing materials for the business. And then you also have the ability to use other services as well, whether it's making blogs, websites, even helping you get your website up to the front page when someone's looking up an accountant. That can all be done through here. All of the state and tax rates are in here as well if you're looking for a specific state. The key facts and figure guides are all in here. They go down to 2018, so you can reference back to prior years. And then reference guides, and then also tax forms. So when you go to this website, we have what's called Answer Connect through ADP. So you can go in here, you can search up any questions you have around federal, state, like legislations, anything that's changing or going on in the industry, or any sort of tax laws that come up. All of that will be in here for you. And then you also have access to our CPE courses. So we offer 40 complimentary CPE courses that you can take on demand. And then you also have an option to enroll into our monthly live webinars that we do. We typically host about 3 to 5 per month. And so if you have a partner with ADP, they'll be able to email that over to you, or you can always go to our website and you can see what courses we have. But that's kind of a high level of what our software has to offer. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if anyone wanted to ever dive further on like a one-off, I'd be happy to do that as well. But I can go ahead and stop sharing my screen now.
Awesome, Lily. All that, and you didn't take one breath.
I didn't.
Very
My
well done.
timer didn't work, so I was like, I'm just gonna keep talking and hopefully it works in 10 minutes.
Very well done. I would guess the only question that's in my mind that would be helpful for maybe the audience is how can accountants partner with ADP? Because I know you have there's a referral link if they don't want to directly do payroll for clients, but be a referrer, or there's that wholesale, which I think is that Accountant Connect. Maybe you briefly go over that. And if there's no time to answer verbally, there are a lot of questions on the chat. You can maybe stay on a few minutes to answer those one by one.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. So just to give you guys background, I'm in the Fort Lauderdale office. So we work in this with South Florida clients. We also work with clients all over the place. We know that a lot of firms have clients that are in different states. So for us, we specialize in the small business division. We work with as little as 1 to 49 employees. The way that we partner with our firms is through a couple of different ways. We have a revenue share program is where our partners are able to take a percentage of the billing that we have for the clients, whether it's off of payroll, workers' comp, health insurance, retirement, even our PEO model. We also have the ability to do wholesale, which is where you can use ADP's software and our services and then get the low monthly bill rate. And then in turn, you can bill your clients back. So you can now offer payroll, workers' comp, retirement, timekeeping, all those services. And then we also have a way that if someone's ever looking to offload their payroll business, maybe looking to get into more different services within the firm, we do what's called a client-based acquisition, which is where we'll take your book of payroll clients, we'll provide you with a multiplier of what that book would be worth, and then we transition those clients over to ADP. But the nice thing is that no matter which way you go about partnering with us, is that you have access to all of your clients through the Accountant Connect portal.
Awesome.
I wanna ask you a question, Lily, and I know this is gonna be a tough one because obviously you have to put your salesperson hat on. And
yeah.
So if I ask a poll question of what people are currently using, 21% are using QuickBooks, 5% are doing manual spreadsheets. Okay, those need to go to ADP no matter what. 20% are using ADP, 41 are using some other payroll system, which could be a competing system, and only 14 are not like involved in payroll. For the people that are just using, let's just focus on the people using QuickBooks. Like from your experience, what would you tell someone that makes ADP better than QuickBooks on the payroll side?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that QuickBooks is very manual. If someone is very comfortable with using QuickBooks, it leaves a little bit less room for error. But a lot of the times when I see clients that are using QuickBooks, typically they don't catch if maybe a filing wasn't done or their deposits aren't paid on a timely schedule. And it also limits them on the ability to integrate anything else that they would have, such as like workers' comp, retirement, health insurance. So I would say with QuickBooks, especially with all the price changes going on today, we are very comparable when it does come to the prices of QuickBooks. You can still integrate ADP with QuickBooks so you can continue to use that for the bookkeeping and the accounting piece. But the nice thing with ADP is that when you sign up with us, we are acting as the agent for that client. So we're the ones that are on basically the hook for doing all the filings, the deposits. We update their tax notices. They have a direct contact that they can reach out to. So just better software and technology, and also just giving them that peace of mind that, hey, we're going to do everything timely, we'll do it correctly, and that we're basically the ones that are responsible for making sure that happens.
That was great. I'm going to launch a polling question. And this is if you want Lily or someone from ADP to reach out to you to talk about the partnership program, how to buy out your payroll clients if you want ADP to buy them out, wholesale program if you want to pay at a discount and charge for payroll, partner with ADP for payroll, or any other information about ADP, just put yes on the polling question. Carlos, anything else to add?
Lily will stick around in the chat and in the Q&A to answer some of the questions. Thank you, Lily, for being here. We appreciate you, and until next time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. There we go. All right. Chris, just give me another 20 seconds to leave the polling question up. And we will let you take the lead. So once again, we got a polling question up, and we have we'll have this one and one or two more coming up. Again, we need at least 3 of the polling questions, and for you to be here for at least 100 minutes to get your 2 hours of CPE. So I gotta let those CPE questions run. So Chris, I'm gonna end the poll now. We got Chris here from Finantico Software or Flash Reports. I'm going to turn off my webcam and you can take over.
Hey, thank you, Hector. Thank you, Carlos, for putting this event together. And I'm going to be sharing my screen over here. And Hector, you can see my screen?
We can see it now.
Oh, okay. Very cool. All right. Thank you. So I've quickly just going to share just a couple of slides. And so my name is Chris Meyer from Fanatical Software. And yeah, so briefly just about our story. I'm one of the co-founders of Fanatical Software. My co-founder and I, you know, how, you know, say flash reports come about is we're accountants by profession. And very early on in our careers, we were business analysts, and we were in the corporate world, and we, you know, we're basically busy with management reporting. And even though we had access to the best of breed financial reporting systems, somehow our data always found its way to Microsoft Excel. And obviously, we could do what we wanted to do in Excel, but what frustrated us is, you know, come next month, we actually had to do it all again, and we had to build these reports again. And so we were on a journey to actually solve this problem, and hence, you know, Flash reports came about. And essentially, Flash reports makes an Excel come alive with data from QuickBooks Online. And Flash reports seamlessly integrates, you know, with Excel, you know, with QuickBooks Online. It makes it live. It takes the best of the capabilities of Excel and combines it with Flash, and then makes it available. And I'm going to be doing a brief, quick demo now. So most of the use cases that we have, you know, for our customers is essentially are those reports where folks need to do something more. So the accountant needs to do something more with the data. It's not just a standard P&L, you know, or balance sheet. Essentially, there's some additional calculation that needs to be done either at the column or the row or at the dashboard. We see a lot of reporting around projects and construction, right, and where even maybe customer profitability reporting. And even in terms of, as we see here in property management, where you want to maybe compare different types of classes, you know, and contribution margins and different types of calculations. So we do offer, you know, just a free 14-day trial. So from a product perspective, it reads directly on QBO, so there's no separate database. And yeah, and I think just with that, let's dive directly here into the product. So you should see the product, you know, up here now. So how you actually get to Flash is it's just in normal Excel. So there's an add-in over here, creates this ribbon at the top. Then you are able to connect, you know, just directly to QuickBooks over there. I'm not going to do a connection now. And then there are various ways to create reports. And so when we build a report, you know, we can leverage and bring in various templates, and we're increasingly, you know, adding more templates over here. But what I just want to show you here is just how it works and what differentiates us, you know, from other tools, and even maybe like Spreadsheet Sync as well. So I'm going to import here just one report and build a basic report. And so what we can see here is what we do is we build this custom formula at the cell level. And what this custom formula does, it just makes use of cell referencing to populate it with the parameters that are needed in order to go and fetch fresh data, you know, from QBO. So if we put our accounting hats on and say, you know, what parameters do we need in order to get fresh data, we've got to tell this formula a couple of things, right? So a few things we've got to tell it is which company, you know, it needs to go and read, and we see that as referencing cell there, A1. There we can see from and to date, B3 and B4, actual versus budget comes from B5. And then there's, you know, basically my accounts come from cell, you know, column 8. So all of these cells here reference, for example, that date, you know, a parameter over there. So, but now if I just go and change that date there to last month, then we can see all these cells essentially refresh. So before I show you all the other dashboards and everything else and template reports that are available, let's just quickly build a report. So what I'm going to do is I'm just quickly going to build a quick comparison report where I'm comparing last month's actuals, you know, to this month's actuals. Here I'm just quickly going to do, let's say, just a standard, you know, variance calculation. So there we can see, you know, right, I'm basically just using, and here I'm actually crossing, obviously, 2 fiscal periods as well, or 2 fiscal years. And there we can see, yeah, basic calculation. So there Excel does the calculation for me. What I'm also able to do is here just at the row level is essentially just, you know, add any type of custom calculation at the row level as well. So I can very quickly do that. And let's just say I want to do percentage calculation over there, maybe just of one relationship to another one. There we can see just it calculates, brings that in as well. What I'm also able to do is actually just bring in budget values as well, right? So I can add anything here. And let's just say there's maybe from last year. I maybe want to compare, just maybe my budget values, just from last year. So there we can see, right, I can bring in budget values, and also maybe compare that, just to actuals as well. So essentially from a report building perspective, there's unlimited amounts that we can actually compare. And this formula can also be expanded, just to include other parameters, like, for example, is also then projects, there we can see I can include projects, classes, and a whole number of other dimensions in here as well. If, as a business analyst, very much sure that there's a big difference over here, and I maybe want to see what's going on, I just stand on that cell and I click on the drill down button. What that does is executes another and passes another query over to QBO, and then finds the details, right, and I drill down and I can see just the lower level values as well. So all of that is essentially very possible, and so from a report building perspective, it is very, very easy. Various dashboards are also available. So here is an example, just as more of a non-profit example. But here is what we're starting to incorporate now, for example, is, just a little dashboard where I might actually just say, hey, I'm doing some funder reporting. And let's just say here, I want to compare now and update, this dashboard here. In terms of all designated funds, let's say my top 4 designated funds, a comparison of revenue and expenses, with various periods. And essentially just what we can see here is just that there is the formula that's essentially just being used. Another thing that we're also really used for as well is just in terms of forecasting as well. So forecasting, what we're able to do is combine actuals versus budget. So what we can see here, and this is taking a 2024 example, I can show 2025 as well, but yeah, obviously we haven't got that much stuff here in 25 yet. But here we've taken that formula now, and we're just reading, actual versus budget that I've got here in row 8. And so in this example over here, I'm basically taking 8 months worth of actuals, and I'm combining it here with 4 months, worth of budget to basically build me a new revised forecast. If I, wanted to change these months, all that I would do is just click and drag, that column over, and these columns would be populated with actuals. My forecast would be updated again. I'm comparing this to a full year's budget, and then I'm calculating a variance, and there I'm just using standard Excel, just to give me some various calculations. What we also just do is, and what's very exciting for us here with, is also actually just with, just the enterprise suite, enterprise suite with, just with our multi-entity reporting, is that we're also able to report, just on multi-entities and combine those values as well. So it's actually very exciting to see what they're doing, just with Intuit Enterprise. From a projects perspective, just what we can do here is combine here, just taking some nonprofit examples as well. So here, we are able to report here on various dimensions. So here's basically, just where now we are filtering. So here's various programs, so here I'm basically filtering by various classes. I can basically here have a class that I've now basically got. So have various donors here, across the top here, and then I've got, just a various funders, donors by program, or we can also switch the other way around as well, right? And so basically have, various years, just various programs, and then we're essentially reporting by, just a customer dimension. So with this, it's possible, as we can see here, is to slice and dice and filter by various combinations of data, whilst also being able to maintain, as we can see, just all our formatting and everything is maintained. And I can do any other forms of custom calculations then, and that just combines it, just dynamically, just with Excel. So a whole number of use cases. I think that we're coming close to, the top here as well. But, I think with the 10 minutes being over here. But yeah, so a whole number of use cases here. I think, we've got the website details, and just go to Fanatical Software. We've got a whole number of demos out there. And yeah, so Hector, Carlos, back over to you.
So we still have 10 minutes for demo, 5 minutes for Q&A. So let's go over the questions. So somebody's asking how does the subscription work with Flash reports?
Okay. Yep. So basically what I can very quickly go do is just to pricing. So, just from a pricing, this is also just on our page over here as well. So there's a whole number of subscription, monthly and annually. Essentially it's, monthly, it's just per company. So essentially the prescription, is per company, and there's volume pricing, it decreases as you increase, but it includes all users. For accounting firms, there's basically, a five company subscription, and that's for $85, if you commit annually or monthly. And then there's also just an enterprise contract that is available as well.
One of the questions here is, do you have support that can help you build reports? And Chris, just be honest and blunt about this answer, because I know this answer has a lot of depth and moving parts to it. But I assume that not everybody is super, super amazing at Excel like you are, right? And then they can't think of immediately what they have to do. What kind of support do you guys provide? Learning resources, that sort of thing?
Sure. No, absolutely. So the big thing is, probably just two comments here, is that this is and let me maybe just quickly go to the YouTube channel. So two things. One is that just on our YouTube channel, so we've got a whole YouTube channel, and I'm going to say the most difficult part of learning the application or the app really is cell referencing. So it just makes use of cell referencing. And so if one understands this concept just in terms of how to build this formula, just makes use of cell referencing, you're, I'm going to say 50% of the way there. The rest of it is definitely Excel, right? And maybe learning some of the things in Excel. So what we've also got is, and where we're also moving, with the product as well, is just making it easier. Basically from a product perspective is to, we're going to be doing quite a lot more of the work here as well. So as an example is that we're building these trend reports, and let's maybe just take you 30 seconds here. So I'm just going to make it for last year. I'm just going to build this trend report here. So what we're also doing here is just essentially building more of these type of trend reports and accelerators, right? Where we're incorporating graphs and everything else as well, where now, anything that you almost want to do is there. And then, with this, you can essentially just add an additional column as well. So one thing is we're making it easier. We can also help you, right? I think build some reports. We actually really do the training, but we also have other services organizations who are, available as well to help build dashboards and reports as well. So it's a combination of the two things.
Yeah. As a fellow software developer, I know that for $25 a month, it's hard to have a resource for an hour helping somebody build a custom report, because there's a lot of thinking that goes behind custom reports. And sometimes people don't even know what they want. They can have an idea what they want, but they don't know yet. And they're learning it through the process as they try different data fields and that sort of thing. Larry's asking, is there a per user license instead of per QBO company license? Or is only per QBO?
It's only per QBO.
Okay. For nonprofit, somebody's making comments about actual versus budgets for reporting to the boards. What kind of solutions have you found yourself doing for nonprofits?
Yep. So basically for nonprofits, I think we actually have quite a number of nonprofits. I think there's sort of one report, I think that they do actually a budget performance report, I think, which is which we see quite regularly, right? I think there's a whole number of comparisons, and I think this one might not actually have all the data, in here. But yeah, so we see very much, right, that comparison report is very possible if that was what, you're specifically talking about. But most definitely, right? So, and I think, for construction as well as nonprofits, what we see very much is the donor reporting, let's say, here's a funder summary report as well as an example, where we have our various funders and, and then maybe what's left over, right? So income and expenses that have been allocated according to, various projects. But yeah, so there's a number of reports and, that we do, where we have helped nonprofits, do their board reporting.
Thank you for that. And I launched the penultimate polling question. So if anybody is interested in getting more information about Flash reports and or a personal demo for your firm, for your clients, go ahead and answer that polling question, and Chris will be emailing you and setting that up for you. Chris, I think you want to mention this because I think a lot of companies don't do this, but the free trial doesn't require a credit card, right? So it's not like a hassle where if I forget to cancel, I have to call. Like there is a full, no credit card required free trial, correct?
That is correct. Yep. But I think even maybe to that, even precursor to that could also just be doing a quick demo, 20-minute demo, where we can talk about a specific use case as well, right? So that's also, just very much possible.
Perfect. Let me see what other questions we have. So we have the polling question for Flash Reports is up. I'm going to run one more polling question. Let me see if anything else. Carlos, I don't think there's any more pending questions for Flash Reports specifically, right?
Doesn't look like it. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Oh, okay. Somebody's asking, does it work with all versions of QuickBooks Online, even Simple Start, Essentials? Like it doesn't have to be advanced, correct?
Correct. Yep. It works with all versions.
Perfect.
Hector, did we answer the one, does it work with multi-entities and can we consolidate into multi-entities into one dashboard? Chris, I don't know. Yeah,
so okay. I can answer that because I've used Flash Reports for this, but I guess the big question is if I have multiple QuickBooks files and maybe I can connect all of them and then run a consolidated P&L, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. Yep. So basically just what I'm showing here is I'm connected to 3, QuickBooks companies over here. And there we can see, just this formula is just referencing, for each of these multi-entities, what I've got here. So in this column B, I've got Stark Industries, I've got Parker here in column C. And here I've basically got, Wayne Enterprises. So those are the 3 that I'm connected to. And they're all referencing this, just as the period. When I change that as a period, we can see, just all of those 3 basically refreshing. Here I've just got a bit of charts and graphs, updating and giving me, just the data as well. So yes, most definitely.
And the last question, does it work with desktop?
No. So we'll only work with QBO and then also QuickBooks, Intuit Enterprise.
Perfect. Well, that concludes officially our 2-day. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for watching the whole presentation. I'm also watching yesterday's presentation before that, so you have all the context. Chris from Flash Reports is definitely one of the most prepared and forward-looking software developers I have met in a very long time. He's very dedicated to the craft. I guarantee you'll meet him. You'll love working with him and the team. So I'm going to run the last polling question, and the last polling question basically is, if the last 2 days you got some value, make sure you go to reframeaccounting.com, learn more about what Carlos and I are doing. We're doing live events. We're doing a US tour. We're doing monthly masterminds. We are developing educational products like exactly what to say for accountants, and there will be more that I'll be working on, as the years go by. Carlos and I have a common mission, which is we want to help rebrand the profession to be sought after as the most creative, forward-looking, and innovative of all professions. AKA, we want people to see us as the most human and helpful people in the world, even at the face of AI and technology seemingly creeping into our world. So definitely check out reframeaccounting.com. If you have any direct email questions for us about Reframe, our events, you can email us at admin@reframeaccounting.com or answer the polling question, and then Carlos or I will send you a quick email and say, what's up? What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? And we'll answer your questions about that. Thank you, everybody. I will be editing yesterday's and today's, putting it together, putting it in YouTube as one big 4-hour virtual conference. Thank you to everybody involved in Reframe 2024, all the experienced partners that made the conference amazing. I'm pretty sure you'll come back Reframe 2025 as well. Continue to make it amazing. Thank you for the great demos. Thank you for being salesy and not being salesy at the same time. There was the perfect balance of showing what the software is and within a short period of time being able to do the best possible thing for the companies you own, the companies you work for, and the cost that you guys are after. I know every single one of these people working for these companies or the developers of these companies. They all want to help improve someone's life, an accountant's life, a small business owner's life, and also REFRAME. We're always going to be wanting to tag along the ride. So thank you everybody for being part of this amazing movement that Carlos and I are involved. And we'll see you at the end of the month for the first Pricing with Conference webinar that we will have as part of this REFRAME series. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.